Hi guys. I made a paid service in Telegram where you will find a great collection of fanfiction audiobooks organized and regularly updated. What you get? An unlimited access to the full audiobook library. New fanfiction audiobooks added regularly. You can play audios directly from Telegram anytime. Joining our service is available through a monthly subscription of $5. You can pay using PayPal or Ko-fi. So what are you waiting for? Send me a message on Telegram or Discord. I will provide the payment details. After the payment is confirmed, you will receive access to the private Telegram channel containing all audiobooks. If you enjoy fanfiction and prefer listening instead of reading, this library is made for you. Message me anytime to join.
Chapter 26, The money owed to the daimyo will be returned in full, and the money owed to the insects. Chapter 26, The money owed to the powerful will be returned in full, while the money owed to the insects will be split 50/50ths. Please read on, vote, and add to your favorites. The daimyo hesitated and sat there indecisive. Should I get involved in this deal? Because of my familiarity with that group of insects, they will become devils in the face of interests, and be so greedy that they lose their minds. As a person in a high position, the daimyo really hated the feeling of losing control, and this game about the tulip bubble was bound to get out of control and beyond his control, and end up in a mess. But it is undeniable. As the initiator and operator of this game, the daimyo will make a fortune and earn a huge amount of wealth. Faced with such a huge amount of wealth, even the daimyo would be very jealous. Kazuma sat on the sofa without saying a word, observing the expression on Daimyo's face. He knew that it was time for him to make his debut. I must promote Daimyoji. How can you hesitate when you want to make big money? Your Highness, please listen to me. The tulip game is open to all who enter, no one forces them to enter. And whoever is able to participate in this game isn't immensely wealthy, yet they're still so greedy. Even if they ultimately lose everything, it's all due to their sins. Lord Chun once said that when a person's wisdom doesn't match their wealth, their money will always find its way back into the market in various ways. Your Highness, you don't want those greedy and foolish people to continue enjoying wealth that doesn't belong to them, right? Kazuma said this, his voice full of temptation. In this ninja world, those who possess huge wealth are not powerful ninjas, but nobles and businessmen. However, the reason these people can possess such huge wealth is often not because of their personal talents, but because of course I am talking about the ninja world. Reincarnation is a technical job. As Daimyo listened to Kazuma's words, some bad memories came to his mind. This really touched the daimyo's sore spot. The people under his command have become increasingly restless over the years. When he was young, the daimyo was ambitious to make a career in the land of fire, and wanted to clarify the administration and sort out the tax system. However, over the past 1,000 years, the entrenched aristocracy had formed a complete bureaucratic system that could not be shaken by the daimyo alone. Unless the daimyo is willing to invite the wolf into the house and let the ninjas interfere in the political affairs of the land of fire, of course, this is simply impossible, because he has to guard against the nobles, but he has to guard against the ninjas even more. The nobles are only greedy for money and power, but if the ninjas come, they may really take their lives. The daimyo would definitely not do such a thing that puts the cart before the horse. Even if he did, those nobles would use various means to stop him at the first moment. You are actually not good at swimming, right? But no matter what. The daimyo in his youth eventually made the nobles of the time more restrained, but now the daimyo is old and lacks energy. They gather together in groups of 1, 2, or 3. Not only are they unwilling to pay taxes, they are also dishonest on some accounting issues. Sometimes the false accounts are a mess. Not only do they fool the people below, they even dare to be vague about the daimyo. These bastards. They're all thieves. The Fire Nation collected 300 billion taels of tax for them. You get 200 billion taels, and I get 100 billion. And you expect me to pretend I don't know how to thank you? Do you really think that just because you're nobles and important officials, I can't touch you? That money you coveted. That's my money. It's mine. My money. The daimyo was screaming in his heart, his face began to darken, while Kazuma was still chattering on, trying to deceive the group of insects. Your Highness, this opportunity is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They can't grasp this wealth. We are following destiny. Thinking of this huge amount of wealth, the daimyo's heart became hot again. This time, the wealth amassed wasn't just a few billion taels, it was tens of billions, even hundreds of billions. It's decided. Daimyo, who had always been dissatisfied with the insects, finally made up his mind under the temptation of huge wealth. It's done. Now or never, this money should have belonged to him. Your Highness, this is the wisest decision. Kazuma was praising him from the side and couldn't help but feel relieved. Quickly after the daimyo agreed to the tulip bubble, the two began to discuss the specific plan. The tulip project only requires the cooperation of the daimyo, and the remaining difficulties can be almost ignored. According to the tulip bubble plan designed by Uchiha Makoto, the first step is for the daimyo's daughter to buy tulips with a large sum of money, so that the reputation of tulips can quickly spread to the aristocratic circle. After that it is to manipulate the price of tulips. A large number of actors were sent to form long queues at the tulip sales offices to create a market where tulips were in short supply, thereby raising the price of tulips, and then shipping them, raising the price, and shipping them repeatedly to make arbitrage. Naturally, a lot of money is needed to raise the price. Shaonin village may not be able to afford it, but there is still the daimyo to back it up. At worst, the lord's money will be returned in full. The most critical contract transaction has been smoothly completed at this time. As for other questions, human greed will help them solve all the difficulties. Good, good, good. The daimyo said 3 good things in a row. The plan designed by Uchiha Makoto could be said to be one link after another, calculating the dark side of human nature. Even if it was him, as long as he was greedy, he would definitely participate in this tulip money game and suffer heavy losses in the end. As long as His Highness is satisfied. All plans have been discussed. Leftover.it is a question of interest distribution. This matter must be discussed in advance. Even brothers have to settle accounts clearly, let alone asking daimyo, a bug, to cooperate. Uchiha Makoto really wants a 70-30 split. Right, naturally, Akatsuki village takes 70% and the daimyo takes 30%. Just 10%, that's a huge amount of money, but that's not realistic. The situation is pressing. Akatsuki village is still weak at the moment. Not only does it need the cooperation of the daimyo, but it also needs the daimyo's financial support. In the future, it will need to continue to cooperate with the daimyo and only give the daimyo 3 levels. Uchiha Cheng can only think about this kind of thing in his dreams. Of course, it is impossible for daimyo to agree to pay for it and contribute his efforts, and use his own name to hype up the fact that he only gets 3 layers. Who can't you see, it's 30-70 and I take 7, but Uchiha Makoto also has a bottom line. The tulip plan was planned by me, and I was the one who managed it from beginning to end. You, Daming, can collect a huge sum just by sitting back. It's impossible for you to only take 3, at least 50-50. I am looking for readers, collections, and monthly votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 27 Uchiha Makoto, Daimyo, I am using your money to do your business. Then it's decided. I will cooperate with your plan. When do you plan to start? The daimyo grinned, he was already eager to start the tulip project. Once a person's lower limit is crossed, it is easy for him to plummet into a moral trough. Anyway, I won't be the one who loses everything. We can start at any time. All plans are ready before we meet you. Your Highness, we are going to make a lot of money this time. 50% of the profits will be given to you. 50%? Daimyo frowned, doubting his ears a little. Did he hear the number wrong? 50%? Do you ninjas understand the rules of how the gentry of the Fire Nation make money? I will return my money in full, and we will split the remaining money 30% to 70%, with me taking 70%. You still have to kneel down to get this 30%. Your Highness, it's 50%. Lord Qing specifically emphasized that although His Highness does relatively little and can earn a large sum of money just by sitting in the palace, His Highness's share of the dividends cannot be reduced because of this. 30% or 40% will not do. It must be 50% in half to show Lord Qing's sincerity in continuing to cooperate with His Highness. In addition, Lord Qing also emphasized one point. All profits from this time will be invested in the construction of the ninja village. Only a strong ninja village can protect the land of fire and the daimyo. Can't your Highness see Master Cheng's sincerity in cooperating? Kazuma blinked innocently. Of course he knew what the fire country daimyo meant, and he also knew the rules of these insects in the fire country. But Uchiha Makoto had already told him that 50% was the minimum bottom line, and even 10% less would not do. However, considering that the current strength of Akatsuki village is still relatively weak, they can only pretend to be stupid and make threats secretly. To this end when Kazuma spoke, he specifically emphasized Uchiha Makoto's sincerity in cooperation. The scale should be struck appropriately so as not to embarrass both parties. In short, daimyo, it costs a lot of money to run a ninja village, so it is only natural that you have to pay for it yourself. I'm not asking for your money now, but I want to use your money to do your thing. You don't want Hashirama Senju to be the only one in power in the land of fire, right? Daimyo's face darkened in an instant. He naturally understood the hidden meaning of these words. If he wanted to continue the cooperation, then this time the profits would have to be split 50-50. At the same time, the evil voice of Hashirama Senju's threat once again sounded in the daimyo's heart. If we fail to contain Hashirama Senju and allow the ninja village they founded to dominate the land of fire, or even go further, the consequences will be immeasurable. Your Highness, there's no need to be so conflicted. Lord Qing's attitude is very firm, a 50-50th split, and you won't be short even 10%. Kazuma, seeing the daimyo's unpredictable expression, stepped forward and added. Both of them knew that this was the opposite of what he meant. Then I will accept Uchiha Makoto's sincerity. In the end, with the support of the threat theory of Hashirama Senju, the daimyo still agreed to this profit-sharing method according to his own will. Every ninja is disloyal. Kazuma nodded, breathing a sigh of relief. He had been worried about what would happen if the daimyo disagreed with this profit-sharing arrangement. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. Hashirama Senju, so helpful. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. I won't keep you here for dinner. Although the daimyo reluctantly agreed to the profit-sharing conditions, he was still holding back a fire in his heart. He was in a very bad mood and urgently needed to vent his anger. As for eating, your Shaonin village swallowed up 2 shares of my shares this time, which must be an astronomical figure, and you still want me to treat you to a meal. Don't even think about this kind of thing. Kazuma looked at the daimyo who was leaving breathlessly, and there was no dissatisfaction on his face. After all, he was a daimyo, so it was normal for him to have a bad temper. The next day, the tulip bubble operation plan officially began. Although the daimyo of the Land of Fire was very dissatisfied with Uchiha Makoto's ugly eating habits, he still gave him the green light all the way, giving him money and people. Originally, Uchiha Makoto was planning to use part of the funds for building the ninja village to purchase tulips, but now with the support of the daimyo of the Land of Fire, the funds for bottom fishing had become extremely abundant. After all, the daimyo is still a decent person. In the next few days, Kazuma, with a large amount of money in hand, began to purchase tulips from all over the Land of Fire. However, although the price of tulips is still low, they are not something that ordinary people can buy for appreciation, and the market stock is still very limited. Once such a large amount of funds pour in, it is easy to cause prices to rise sharply. Therefore, in order to avoid unnecessary trouble and make some people alert, this process must be fast. Therefore, Kazuma has been traveling around the Fire Country and even the neighboring countries with a group of people these days, using shadow clones. They have been sleeping in the open air all the way. When they are tired, they sleep in trees. When they are hungry, they eat military ration pills to survive. They have been constantly purchasing tulips in the market. Buy enough tulips before the market reacts and prices rise sharply. The details involved are naturally extremely painful. In this era, ninjas rely entirely on their legs to travel. After taking a few Bingliang pills, although the taste is not very good, it really works. I can run all night long, and the ninjas in the ninja world are all little superheroes. The ninja world is huge, but the ninjas move really fast. During the First Shinobi World War, the second Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village led his troops on a rapid march, bypassing most of the Land of Fire in a short period of time, passing through several small countries in between, and attacked the Hidden Rock Village with lightning speed, and eventually perished together with the second Tsuchikage. Just by looking at the map, you can tell how ridiculous this sneak attack march route is, but a ninja's legs can really work miracles. Finally, we've stocked up enough. Kazuma seemed to be hollowed out. Looking at the warehouses full of tulips, a look of salvation appeared on his face. God has mercy on me. The ninja world is huge, but their ninjas run very fast, and they have the support of shadow clones. In addition, the means of transmitting information in the ninja world are very limited. This time they created a perfect time difference, and not many people realized that someone was hoarding a large amount of tulips. Although the price of tulips rose with large-scale purchases, it only increased by more than double, nearly twice. This price increase was nothing compared to the subsequent madness. Darkness, you may inform the daimyo and prepare the next plan. Kazuma said this. Next, a daimyo needs to appear and let tulips be heard throughout the aristocratic circle. As for signing a contract with the flower farmer, there is no rush. Because if he continues to work day and night, he Genzen feels that he will die suddenly. End of this chapter. Chapter 28 Tobirama. The future of the village is a vibrant realm where all things flourish. Chapter 28 Senju Tobirama. The future of the village is a state of vigorous vitality and flourishing of all things. The next day, everything in the Fire Nation is as usual, as quiet as a calm lake. During this period, a sudden piece of news came out from the Fire Nation Palace. A minor official suddenly gained the favor and praise of a famous person and was promoted 3 levels in one day. This news immediately attracted everyone's attention, and the daimyo's every move was particularly watched. Among them, the most eye-catching was the personnel appointment of officials. We are all officials in the Fire Nation. Who doesn't want to move up and make progress? How could he, an ordinary minor official with no distinguished family background, rise to prominence overnight and be promoted 3 levels? Nobles.in order to obtain necessary information at critical moments, they maintained long-term friendly relations with the attendants around the daimyo of the Land of Fire. They often exchanged golden beans when they met, so how could their relationship not be good? The story of the daimyo's daughter buying tulips with a fortune spread immediately. Oh, it's because of the tulips. So the daimyo likes tulips. In order to spread the name of tulips as quickly as possible, the daimyo specially convened a grand banquet and gathered all the nobles of the Fire Nation together for a meal. After having enough wine and food, the daimyo took out the precious tulips he had prepared and praised them with all his might in public. Look at how beautiful this flower is. Only aristocrats with a strong cultural atmosphere and refined taste can discover its beauty. Do you think it's beautiful? A nobleman who was pointed out in the crowd immediately responded, Your Highness, I have never seen such beautiful flowers in my life. You have good taste. How many tulips do you have in your collection? The daimyo continued to ask, while the noble looked embarrassed. Your Highness, I don't have any tulip collection at home. He admitted that he was a nobleman with good taste and fully discovered the beauty of the tulip in front of him, but he had never been very interested in flowers and plants. No tulips. The daimyo showed a mocking look in public, and at this moment another noble rushed out from the crowd with an extremely excited look on his face. Your Highness, my family has a room full of tulips. Only people of our taste and status can appreciate their beauty. Tulips had only become a trend among a small number of nobles before, and their fame had not yet spread throughout the entire aristocratic circle. They belonged to the track of niche guys, but now the niche hobby has suddenly been favored by the big names. This is not catching up. For a while, the atmosphere became heated. The daimyo quickly took the noble's hand and admired the tulips with him. The nobles watching on the side echoed him and praised the tulips. And that unlucky guy was excluded by everyone without any prior agreement. A nobleman without taste is no longer worthy of playing in the same circle with them, nobles present. Who doesn't have a house full of tulips? Sure face. In just one night, the name of Tulip quickly broke out of the circle, and the name of Tulip spread like a virus to the land of fire and even to the aristocratic circles of the entire ninja world. The tulip bubble is blowing. At the same time Konoha office, Senju Tobirama sat on a chair. This chair should belong to Hashirama Senju, but Hashirama Senju is a hands-off boss, and it is usually Tobirama Senju who is responsible for handling the daily affairs of the village. And Senju Hashirama he usually either hangs out with Uchiha Madara and doesn't go home at night, causing Senju Tobirama to be scolded by Uzumaki Mito, or he sneaks into the casino and starts acting as a money boy, still not going home at night until he loses all his money. The next day he goes to Uchiha Madara to borrow money, who reluctantly lends him the money, and then the two of them hang out together again. Senju Hashirama doesn't go home at night again, causing Senju Tobirama to be scolded by Uzumaki Mito when he returns home. How can you be a good brother? Over time, Senju Tobirama had some complaints. After all, no one wants to be busy in the office all day and then be scolded by his sister-in-law at night for not taking good care of his elder brother. Brother, what's so good about that inherently evil Uchiha Madara? Faced with Tobirama Senju's complaints, Hashirama Senju, despite admitting his mistakes, refused to change them. I just want to play with Madara. Of course about this situation, Senju Tobirama was in pain and happy. The eldest brother does not do his job every day, and Uchiha Madara also does not do his job every day. This means that the inherently evil Uchiha Madara is restrained by the eldest brother. That's great, now the actual person in charge of the entire village is actually me, Senju Tobirama. I will use this opportunity to gradually divide the Uchiha clan and make Uchiha Madara lose the trust of the Uchiha clan members. They will only know about the village but not Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara is still too dangerous. If he suddenly goes crazy one day, the Uchiha clan cannot go crazy with him. Brother, we must not destroy the situation that we have created. Senju Tobirama thought so in his heart, and he already had a series of plans in his mind. He used the power in his hands to buy the hearts of the Uchiha clan. Moreover, the situation in the village is getting better and better. It can be said that it is a state of vitality where all things are flourishing, and all of this is the result of Senju Tobirama's hard work day and night during this period. He didn't even have time to do his most beloved scientific research experiments. Even for his own sake, Senju Tobirama will defend the hard-earned village. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Senju Tobirama raised his head and said, "Come in." The door creaked open and 4 people walked into the room. Sasuke, Shurshin, you're here. Tobirama-sama. Senju Tobirama looked at the people in front of him and smiled. Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shurshin are the patriarchs of the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan respectively. Their 2 clans have decided to join Konoha. After a round of greetings the 2 patriarchs stated their purpose. Their 2 families will soon move to Konoha together. This is great. How can I help you? The main plan for this relocation is that he, as the clan leader, will personally lead his people to Konoha. They will pass by the capital of the Land of Fire and purchase supplies in bulk near the capital. The Shimura clan is in a similar situation. If it is to help, it would be best if the village could provide some financial support. The more supplies are purchased in bulk, the more favorable the price will be. Senju Tobirama nodded. Money was not a problem. Although the village is a little short of funds now, it can still scrape together some money to bribe the first ninjas who invested in Konoha. This is very symbolic. It just so happens that the village is running low on supplies right now, so this time we can follow the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan to purchase supplies in bulk. The village's economy is tight, so purchasing in bulk will definitely be cheaper, and every penny saved counts. Wait a minute, did you say we were passing by the Fire Nation capital? Yes, Tobirama-sama. Senju Tobirama suddenly mentioned the capital of the Land of Fire. He said the village's finances were tight, and that if they could get support from the daimyo, the situation would be much better, but I have already sent 2 letters to the daimyo, and the responses I received were always First, the daimyo thanked Senju Tobirama for his letter, and then gave the following reply in his letter. Under consideration. Under active consideration. Senju Tobirama planned to take this opportunity to write another letter and give it to him again. If the 3rd letter still didn't work, he planned to send his eldest brother to meet the daimyo in person. Oh, it's a piece of cake. Leave the task of delivering the letter to Hiruzen. He is already a ninja who can handle things on his own. Sarutobi Sasuke said this. Shimura Shurshin on the side was a beat slower, just like the future Danzo. Danzo, you can come along too. Please collect, read and vote for me. End of this chapter. Chapter 29 Tobirama. Use the money saved from embezzlement to sponsor my research. Chapter 29 Tobirama. Use the money saved from embezzlement to sponsor my research. Chapter 29 Senjo Tobirama. Corruption, oh no. The money saved should be used to support my scientific research. This time, Sarutobi Sasuke came to Konoha, not only to discuss with Senju Tobirama about the collective relocation of the Sarutobi clan to Konoha, but also to introduce his son Sarutobi Hiruzen to Senju Tobirama. If possible, Sarutobi Sasuke also hopes that Senju Tobirama can accept Sarutobi Hiruzen as his apprentice. This was a decision Sarutobi Sasuke made after careful consideration. Some time ago, Sarutobi Sasuke came to the village to investigate. The village's strength is unquestionable. After all, it was a village jointly established by the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan. Of course, this news is known to everyone. The most important thing is that Sarutobi Sasuke has almost figured out a key issue concerning the future development of the Sarutobi clan. When the Sarutobi clan moves to Konoha in the future, who should they lick and which side should they take? Who should I lick? Of course, I should lick the person who is in charge. Standing in a team? Of course, the person who stands in that team has the final say. You can't just follow the second in command and eat the leftovers. Then who is the boss of the village? The one who is on the surface is undoubtedly Senju Hashirama. But the person actually in charge is Tobirama Senju. Senju Tobirama is called assistant, but he is actually regent, the final say on Konoha's development. Sarutobi Sasuke witnessed with his own eyes the scene where the famous ninja master Hashirama Senju was scolded by Tobirama Senju and was forced to squat in the corner and draw circles. That's it. In the end, Hashirama Senju even nodded and begged Tobirama Senju not to be angry. Seeing such a famous scene, Sarutobi Sasuke could tell how terrifying Senju Tobirama's say in the village was. It could even be described as overwhelming power. If the Sarutobi clan wants to obtain sufficient resources in the village and develop in the long run, they must establish contact with Senju Tobirama. In the ninja world, apart from blood relatives, the closest relationship for a ninja is with his disciples. If Sarutobi Hiruzen can become Senju Tobirama's disciple, the Sarutobi clan will have a backer in the village. At the same time, this is also a token of the Sarutobi clan's allegiance. Master Tobirama, leave this matter to me. I'm already a ninja who can stand on my own. At the signal from his father Sarutobi Sasuke, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately stood up with a loud voice and an expression full of confidence. Sir Tobirama, me too. Danzo Shimura came out a beat late. That's it. Senju Tobirama raised his head and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo in front of him. Although they are not yet adults and look only 14 or 15 years old, for this cruel ninja world, a child who can live to the age of 14 or 15 can indeed be called an independent ninja. When he was 7 or 8 years old, he followed his father to the battlefield to eliminate the inherently evil Uchiha. Master Tobirama, please leave this matter to Hiruzen. It just so happens that I'm planning to let him be in charge of purchasing supplies this time. Hiruzen is my son, and one day he'll have to shoulder the burden of the Sarutobi clan. It's time for him to do that. Delivering the letter was just a matter of convenience. As Sarutobi Sasuke said this, he began to unconsciously praise Sarutobi Hiruzen. I just happened to have this plan, Danzo, and it's about time. The same was true for Shimura Shurshin, who was standing next to him. Considering the future of the Shimura clan, he also hoped that Senju Tobirama could accept Shimura Danzo as his apprentice. Well, since both of you said so, then all right. Tobirama Senju nodded. It was just delivering a letter to the daimyo of the Land of Fire. Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura were also going to the Land of Fire to buy supplies. What could possibly go wrong? Seeing Senju Tobirama nodded in agreement. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo showed joy on their faces. Delivering the letter was just an excuse. The most important thing is to get the opportunity to spend time with Senju Tobirama. Then it was time for Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo to perform. In order to ensure the success of the letter delivery mission, Sarutobi Hiruzen took the initiative to talk about his fire-style ninjutsu, while Danzo Shimura on the side used his wind-style ninjutsu. Senju Tobirama cooperated with their performance and also pointed out the shortcomings of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo in their understanding of ninjutsu. At this point, Senju Tobirama could probably guess what Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shima were thinking. It's not impossible to accept a disciple. Apart from the disadvantage of wasting precious time to teach students, the rest can be said to be advantages. In the future, the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan will support him and will not be corrupted or lured by the inherently evil Uchiha clan. With the support of the ninja clan, it will be very helpful for Senju Tobirama to better control the village in the future. This went on for a while. Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shima finally told the second purpose of their coming here today. Sir Tobirama, you are indeed a powerful ninja. You are truly knowledgeable and it is effortless for you to instruct these two. I wonder if you would be willing to accept Hiruzen/Danzo as your apprentice. Take in a disciple. Well, it's not impossible, but my standards for selecting disciples are not low. Senju Tobirama said this, although he really intended to accept Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo as his disciples, he certainly could not agree to it so easily. As the saying goes, good things come to those who wait. There are quite a few procedures to follow when accepting a disciple, and one must pass a certain test. Besides, I am Senju Tobirama. No matter what, I cannot accept two losers as my disciples. I have to save my reputation. Necessary tests cannot be absent. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo showed excitement. In just the brief exchange, both of them were impressed by Senju Tobirama. Being able to point out their shortcomings in understanding ninjutsu in such a short time was something that even their father could not do. Even if it is not for the future of the family, they will find a way to become stronger and become disciples of Senju Tobirama. When you return from the Fire Nation, I will test you. If you can gain my approval, I will accept you as my disciples. Lord Tobirama, I won't let you down. X2 Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo spoke loudly together. The two parties reached an agreement, and Senju Tobirama brought up the topic of adult life again. They discussed the list of supplies to be purchased, the relocation of the ninja clan, the planning of the ninja village and a series of other issues. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were listening, thinking in their hearts how to get the approval of Senju Tobirama as soon as possible after returning from the Land of Fire. Then it's decided. The village needs to buy supplies recently, so please stop by. That way, we can get a better price. The Sarutobi clan and the Shursho clan plan to each put out nearly 200 million taels to purchase supplies. The village can subsidize them with 50 million taels each, and also put out another 300 million taels to purchase supplies, totaling 800 million taels. Such a large-scale purchase of supplies can save about 5%. Even if you calculate it down to 5%, it's still a huge expense. The money saved will not be deposited into the public account, and some money will be kept to buy scientific research equipment. This is the harvest of my wisdom. Really looking forward to it. Senju Tobirama was thinking this in his mind. End of this chapter. Chapter 30 Danzo, Hiruzen, I must let Lord Tobirama see my desire to improve. Chapter 30 Danzo, Hiruzen, I must let Lord Tobirama see my desire to improve. Considering that it was a collective relocation of the family, there were quite a few carriages, horses, and luggage, and there were also women and children in the family who needed to be taken care of. It would probably take a lot of time to go back and forth, so Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shurshin only took a short rest in the village for a few days, and then planned to leave with Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo left Konoha reluctantly. During this rest time the occasional guidance given by Senju Tobirama when he was free had already benefited the two of them a lot. Now they both wanted very much to do something that would impress Senju Tobirama as soon as possible and become his official disciples as soon as possible. The entrance to the village. Hiruzen, who do you think will become Tobirama-sama's disciple first? Danzo Shimura looked at the village not far away and said this with a hint of provocation in his words. Although he and Hiruzen Sarutobi were of similar age and had gotten along well after spending a few days together, they did not hesitate to contact each other. But when Danzo Shimura faced Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was of similar strength, perhaps because of his youthful nature, or perhaps because of his fate, he always wanted to surpass Sarutobi Hiruzen in everything he did. In daily life, when eating or running, we need to compare who eats more, who runs faster, who can persist longer, and even when urinating, we need to compare who can urinate farther. Not to mention practicing and competing together. That must be me. Sarutobi Hiruzen answered confidently, refusing to give in to Shimura Danzo even a little. You only know how to brag. Shimura Danzo curled his lips and fought back without hesitation. A tense atmosphere immediately emerged. Okay, stop talking nonsense, you two little brats. It's time to go. Sarutobi Sasuke suddenly interrupted the bickering between Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. The two had no choice but to give up, but they were actually very angry. After looking at each other, they strode forward and started on their way. The capital of the Fire Nation. Make way. I want to buy 100 tulips today. Why are you pushing? Get in line. There is now a long queue in front of a tulip store in the Fire Country. People have been queuing here since early this morning. Of course, even if it is rolled up like this, it cannot be at the front of the line because some people even lined up in front of the store last night. Such a scene. It not only appears in the capital of the Fire Nation. The entrances of other stores selling tulips in the Land of Fire are also like this. Such a grand occasion occurred. The real reason of course it was because Uchiha Makoto blew up the tulip bubble. To be frank, Uchiha Makoto underestimated the influence of the daimyo, and even more so the vanity of the Fire Nation nobles. They were really rich and could spend a lot of money to buy tulips for the sake of temporary face. Any noble who owns a room full of tulips can easily become the center of attention at the ball and win the favor of the beautiful young ladies present. They all want to see what a room full of tulips looks like, and then check in to show off that they are a classy and noble lady. If it is a rare and exotic tulip, it would be even more amazing. Even the daimyo would invite you and hope that you would bring this tulip to appreciate art with him. Which noble doesn't want to be associated with the daimyo? Nowadays, the tulip market was like a powder keg ignited by Uchiha Makoto. As the actual operator behind the scenes, Kazuma quietly drove up the price of tulips. This process went more smoothly than he had imagined, requiring almost no investment at all. There was a profitable opportunity. The funds will come naturally. The nobles were willing to spend a fortune to save their own face and gain the favor of the daimyo. When the wealthy merchants of the Fire Nation saw this scene, their eyes suddenly lit up, just like sharks smelling blood. They took out their own funds and began to buy tulips with bayonets, ready to charge. At one time, a huge amount of money poured into the tulip market. Daming Palace. Your Highness, you are here. Kazuma's eyes were shining with gold coins. He was fiddling with the abacus in front of him, calculating the profits of the past 2 days in the account book. He looked up and saw Daimyo walking into the room. Daimyo nodded and found a sofa to sit on. He came here this time just to know how the plan was going. Well, actually, he just wanted to know how much money he had earned so far. Your Highness, the situation is far better than we imagined. The nobles are richer than I thought. Kazuma stood up, an excited smile on his face. The tulip market is booming right now, with prices soaring. They have only sold 1/3 of their current inventory, but they have already made a profit of nearly 1.3 billion taels. It's so terrifying. So many. The Fire Country daimyo couldn't help but reveal a look of surprise. This number is even more than he imagined. It seems those bastards are really rich. Last year, there was a flood in the north of the Fire Nation. We asked them to donate some money, but they all cried poor. Damn, these insects. The daimyo couldn't help but think of the flood that occurred last year. Even though the Fire Nation has occupied the best place in the entire ninja world, it still has to face the natural disasters common in agricultural countries. For example, floods, droughts. This ninja world is also blessed with natural energy, making natural disasters like floods even more ferocious. Faced with the raging flood, even if a group of Earth-style ninjas came, it would be useless. The obstacles raised by the Earth wall would be destroyed in less than half a day. Ninjas are as powerless as ordinary people in the face of natural disasters. Of course, ninjas like Hashirama Senju don't count, but can he be considered a human being? The contracts with the flower farmers have already been signed. Daimyo couldn't help but mention the second half of the plan. The money earned now was just an appetizer and the real feast was yet to come. Just a few billion taels? Well, quite a few indeed. But it was not enough to make the daimyo spend so much effort to plan for this tulip plan. During this period, Daimyoji kept showing off his love for tulips in public. There have been 5 or 6 banquets held just for the tulip vinegar. This time, must make a big profit, cut those insects to death. Don't worry, Your Highness, everything is ready. Tulip prices are still rising, and it's not just the nobility. Wealthy merchants are also getting involved. The price is far from reaching its peak. Please look at this price analysis chart. When it approaches the peak, it will be time for us to take action. Kazuma said with a smile. With the support of Daming Resources, they now almost have a grasp of the tulip market price, inventory, and capital inflow situation, plus the price analysis chart drawn up by professional analysts based on this. Everything is under control. Please read, collect, and vote for me. End of this chapter. Chapter 31 Daimyo, Uchiha Makoto, Go and Kill Hashirama. Chapter 31 Daimyo, Uchiha Makoto, Go and Kill Hashirama Senju. After a period of running around, Sarutobi Sasuke and his companions finally arrived at the capital of the Land of Fire. Hiruzen, Danzo, you must be careful in everything you do in the Fire Nation capital. First, go and deliver the letter from Lord Tobirama to the daimyo, and then go buy supplies. I have already given you the purchase list. Sarutobi Sasuke instructed Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo in front of him. One of them was holding a letter to be delivered to the daimyo of the Land of Fire, and the other was holding a sealing scroll containing a huge sum of 800 million taels. Also, remember to bargain hard when buying supplies. I know, father. No matter what you buy, just bargain for a 50% discount. Facing his father's repeated instructions, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. He knew the rules of bargaining, so he would cut the price in half first. That's good to know. This mission must be completed. Lord Tobirama is watching your performance. Well, we know. X2 After a round of instructions, Sasuke Sarutobi and Shima Shimura left the capital of the Land of Fire. They also needed to return to their family land to move the entire family to Konoha. The task of purchasing supplies was given to Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. Hiruzen, let's go. First we need to go pay our respects to the daimyo of the Land of Fire and complete the mission that Master Tobirama has given us. After watching the two leave, Danzo Shimura couldn't wait to meet the daimyo of the Land of Fire and hand over the letter from Senju Tobirama to the daimyo. In this way, their mission in the capital of the Land of Fire this time would be half completed. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, he thought so too. The task of delivering letters is simpler than the task of purchasing supplies. Purchasing supplies is not an easy job. It is not just about buying all these supplies, the most important thing is to save money as much as possible. The more money you save, the more you can impress Lord Tobirama. This requires bargaining with the merchants, which is very time-consuming and energy-consuming, and neither of them is very good at this. After all, they are ninjas and are used to using shurikens to speak for themselves. But they have to find a way to overcome this. Because Master Tobirama said, to become an excellent ninja, you must consider all aspects comprehensively. Personal strength is only one of them. Of course, this is only the first half of the sentence. Senjo Tobirama actually had another part to say. He said in his heart, if you can be as strong as my brother, then it's up to you. The two men reached an agreement and immediately set out for the city. After going around in circles for a while, he arrived at the daimyo's palace. After handing over his business card, he successfully met the smiling daimyo of the Land of Fire. Of course the smile is fake. When the daimyo heard that Konoha had sent another letter, he was stunned. He had already read the letters that Konoha had sent to his daimyo. The core content of the letters was just one, daimyo, I am building a ninja village, but it requires a lot of money. I heard that you have a lot of wealth. Would you be willing to donate a little? Sponsor? Give the money to you, Konoha. What will you do if you become bigger? Even Hashirama Senju inexplicably put on my clothes one day. What should I do? So. In order to delay the matter as much as possible, the daimyo would reply, we are considering it, we are actively considering it. I didn't expect that Konoha still didn't give up and now wrote a third letter. The daimyo wanted to ask the guards to kick out the ninja who delivered the letter, but after thinking it over, he chose to meet him. Yes, for decency, he has always been a decent man. Sit down, don't be shy. Come here, serve tea. The daimyo sat on the sofa and waved his hand to signal Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo to sit down and talk. Thank you, your highness. X2 After some pleasantries, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo stated their identities and purpose. They came to deliver a letter to the daimyo. Compared to the letter, the daimyo noticed the identities of the two. Are you from the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan? Yes, your highness. My Sarutobi clan has decided to join Konoha. The same is true for the Shimura clan. So this is The daimyo's face showed a slight pause, and a feeling of uneasiness appeared in his heart. He has always been worried that the village founded by Senjo Hashirama would grow bigger and stronger, and eventually attract other ninja clans to join. He didn't expect that this day would come so soon. Your Highness, this is the letter that Lord Tobirama asked us to deliver to you. Sarutobi Hiruzen took out the letter from his arms and handed it to the daimyo. The daimyo took it, then opened the letter and began to read. The core content of this letter was similar to the previous one, Daming, you are quite wealthy. Quick, send me the money. But there are some differences. At the end of the letter, Senjo Tobirama specifically emphasized that if the daimyo wanted to continue considering it this time, he planned to have his elder brother Senjo Hashirama come to the capital of the Land of Fire in person to have friendly discussions with the daimyo. His behavior and words were very tactful and respectful. What a pity. Senjo Tobirama really hopes that the daimyo can provide financial assistance to Konoha. In exchange, Konoha can offer loyalty to the daimyo. But because of Hashirama Senju's threat, these respectful requests took on a different meaning in the eyes of the daimyo, and the threatening meaning almost overflowed from the paper. Daming, why are you so ungrateful? If you don't pay me, I'll have my big brother, Hashirama Senju, come to the Land of Fire and give you a beating, and I'll blast your gold coins. As daimyo thought about this, cold sweat broke out on his back, but his years as a daimyo still allowed him to maintain a sense of rationality. Don't panic now, and Uchiha Makoto. I will write a letter to tell Uchiha Makoto about this matter later, so that Uchiha Makoto can solve this problem and let him fight Senjo Hashirama. If it really doesn't work at worst, I can just give them Konoha money. The daimyo has always been a decent person. Thank you both for the message. There's a banquet tonight that would be perfect for your welcome. I am with you, the Sarutobi clan, and the Shimura clan. Do not refuse. The daimyo took out his handkerchief to wipe the sweat from his head and invited Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo to attend the evening banquet. If Konoha can win over the ninja clan, so he can do it too. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo looked at each other and agreed. They had not eaten any proper meals these days because they were busy traveling. They had either rice balls or military pills. At this time, Uchiha Makoto did not know the daimyo's thoughts. Uchiha Makoto, go and get rid of Senjo Hashirama. Uchiha Makoto was sitting on a chair in his office, eating melon seeds while staring at the medical ninjutsu textbook written by Aqua, which read, 3 years as a medical ninja, 5 years as a medical master, with the system prompt sounding in his ears. Akatsuki Village. 101 plus 3 plus 5 plus 8 plus 4. Comment, although small, it is full of vitality and a realm where all things flourish. Financial expenditure increased by 1 million taels, prosperity plus 3. Financial expenditure increased by 8 million taels, prosperity plus. Financial expenditure increased by 5 million taels detected, prosperity plus. What a pleasant sound, Just like hearing ZFB has received 1 million yuan in the rabbit country in the previous life, everything is going really well. Hope things will continue to go this smoothly. A satisfied smile appeared on Uchiha Makoto's face. End of this chapter. Chapter 32, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura and 039's worldviews are challenged. Chapter 32, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura's worldviews are challenged. Please add to your favorites, follow along, and vote with your monthly tickets. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, it was time for the banquet to start. During this period, the daimyo took the time to send a letter to inform Uchiha Makoto that he planned to discuss with Uchiha Makoto whether he should provide financial support to Konoha. Of course, the daimyo did not want to support Konoha. Once Konoha became strong, he would be in danger. But considering Hashirama Senju's iron fist, he is still quite respectable. It would be best if Uchiha Makoto could resolve this matter. If not, the daimyo would just give money directly. Banquet. The daimyo had a kind smile on his face and was eager to entertain Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. They were both sons of the ninja clan leader, and they had to make friends with them. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo looked flattered. In their eyes, the daimyo of the Fire Nation is very noble, and can be said to be the noblest person in the entire ninja world. But soon their attention was diverted to the delicious food. Plates of delicious food were placed in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, making their stomachs growl. I'll start first. X2 Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo didn't hesitate at all and devoured the food at the table like gluttons. You little brat, you're going to eat me out of my house. This is not just empty talk. Now is the time for them to grow, and they are ninjas, so their food intake is even more terrifying as they need to refine chakra. The nobles attending the banquet looked at this scene in amazement. The food on the table was soon empty, and daimyo waved his hand, signaling for another table to be served. Thank you, your highness. X2 The two young men, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, focused on the food, while the nobles attending the banquet were pursuing something more. They were not really there to eat. The more important thing for nobles to attend banquets is socializing, to get to know more people, and to expand their network. Of course, showing off is inevitable. The nobles gathered in groups to chat. One of the nobles took out the precious tulips he had prepared. These were the most elegant and status-reflecting flowers in the Fire Nation. He immediately became the most eye-catching and dazzling person in the crowd. All the nobles in the audience couldn't help but move closer to him, wanting to catch a glimpse of this precious tulip. This tulip is actually a red and white treasure. So beautiful. Where did you buy it from? It must have cost a lot of money. The nobles talked about it a lot, praising the precious tulip with all their might. Money. It's only 5 million taels. This little money is nothing. I am a person of status and good manners. The nobleman said this. 5 million taels was indeed not a small amount, even he felt a little painful. But it's money well spent. Not only is it sought after by everyone, it also reflects one's elegant taste. The most important is I bought this rare tulip quite a while ago, and now such a rare flower would be worth tens of millions of taels on the market. That's it. Even if you want to spend money, you may not be able to buy it. It is a good thing that is in short supply. After I finish installing this wave, I'll find a chance to sell it. It's like managing my finances. The nobleman thought so as he enjoyed the flattery of the crowd. The price of tulips is still rising steadily. The nobles use a whole room of tulips to show off their identity and status, and a steady stream of nobles are constantly participating. The wealthy merchants, on the other hand, stock up on goods in large quantities, hoping to make a fortune by buying low and selling high. What are they doing together? Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, who had eaten and drunk their fill, stood up puzzled when they saw the nobles gathered together. Soon, listening to the nobles' discussions, they understood. It turned out to be for a flower. It's just a flower, what's so strange about it? Danzo Shimura said nonchalantly that he was a pure warring states ninja and had no interest in the hobbies of the nobles. Instead of wasting time looking at a flower, he might as well use this precious time to train chakra, practice shuriken throwing, and practice ninjutsu. This guy was incredibly lucky. He only spent 5 million taels to buy this rare tulip. The whispering sounds among the nobles reached the ears of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, who were watching the fun. As excellent ninjas, they had excellent eyesight and hearing. Seized the young master. 5 million taels. Hiruzen, did I hear correctly? This red and white flower is worth 5 million ryo. Shimura Danzo's originally nonchalant expression immediately turned into one of stunned silence, his eyes widened, and his heart was filled with disbelief. Just this one flower is worth 5 million taels. The ninjas of their family had to carry out very difficult or even life-threatening missions, and the commission for the missions rarely had a chance to reach 5 million ryo. The flower in front of him was already impacting Danzo Shimura's worldview. Danzo. I guess I heard correctly. I heard the same number, 5 million ryo. Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression was equally stunned, and he was no less shocked than Shimura Danzo. Why is the price of this flower so outrageous? Even as the two were surprised, the whispering continued. Yes, he was lucky. This rare tulip is conservatively estimated to be worth 10 million taels. 10 million taels? It's less than that. I feel it would have to be doubled. This is just the current market price. I guess in the future. Tulips right now. You know, I'm very familiar with the tulip market. Not long ago, I spent several million taels to buy a batch of tulips. Guess how much I've earned now? How many? I'll tell you, it'll scare you to death. It's almost 30 million taels, and I still feel like I'm losing money. I'm thinking about buying another batch right away. The price of tulips is going to keep going up. You've made a killing, kid. I was actually planning to stock up on some too. How about we pool our money together this time? The current market is like picking up money. Even a dog can make a few million taels and walk away. Danzo Shimura listened to the whispers in his ears and couldn't help but pinch Sarutobi Hiruzen's thigh with his hand. Danzo, why are you pinching my leg? I want to try and see if I'm dreaming now. Then why don't you pinch your thigh? Sarutobi Hiruzen said this unhappily while rubbing his leg. The price of these tulips is too outrageous. One flower costs 20 million taels. Shimura Danzo said this with an expression of disbelief on his face. Indeed, it's simply sensational. Sarutobi Hiruzen also thought that the price was exaggerated and was amazed. More. Hiruzen, did you hear that? Tulip is picking up money right now. Even a dog can make millions of ryo. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo Shimura, and he read greed and desire on Danzo's surprised face. I am looking for monthly tickets for collection and reading. End of this chapter. Chapter 33 Shimura Danzo, Hiruzen, you will definitely regret this. Chapter 33 Shimura Danzo, Hiruzen, you will definitely regret it. Danzo, you're not planning to start a tulip business, are you? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo Shimura who looked excited in front of him, and guessed what he was thinking in just a moment. This is a business that can easily earn you millions of taels. Aren't you tempted? Shimura Danzo said this. For a ninja at his current level, the reward for each mission is only a few 100,000 taels, and even this needs to be shared with the team members. Getting a million taels of reward for a mission can be considered as becoming rich overnight. Now the opportunity to get rich overnight is right in front of you. Who doesn't want to get rich overnight? Faced with such an opportunity, who can resist? This number is really exaggerated. Sarutobi Hiruzen said as he swallowed his saliva. Several million taels of silver was also an astronomical figure for him. Who doesn't like money? Right, now that such a good opportunity is right in front of us, it would be too great if we don't take advantage of it. And Hiruzen, have you forgotten the test from Lord Tobirama? If we can make a fortune from this, even just 1 or 2 million ryo, it will be enough to let Lord Tobirama see our abilities. The radicalism and adventurousness in Shimura Danzo began to emerge. He wanted to learn about the tulip business. If he could really make money from it, that would be great. Of course, this is not just for money. The most important thing is that he wants Senju Tobirama to look at him differently as soon as possible, and then recognize his abilities. Eventually, he wants to become Senju Tobirama's disciple. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but feel hot in his heart as he listened to what Shimura Danzo said. The picture drawn by Danzo is indeed very tempting, and just thinking about it makes Sarutobi Hiruzen excited. He earns a lot of money, makes Lord Tobirama look at him differently, and becomes Lord Tobirama's disciple. Even his own father praises him. This is too cool. But after a brief thought, Sarutobi Hiruzen forced himself to suppress his greed and regained his sanity. His father had told him to be careful in everything he did, and that ninjas should do what ninjas should do. They only needed to consider how to complete the task efficiently. As for business, this is not an area where ninjas can interfere at will. It would be a joy to make a lot of money from such a business, but what if you lose money, then? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Shimura Danzo seriously and said, Danzo, we are ninjas. This kind of thing is not something we ninjas can interfere in casually. If you can make money, that's a good thing, but what if you lose money? There's no such thing as a guaranteed profit in this world. Faced with Sarutobi Hiruzen's advice, the fire rising in Shimura Danzo's heart was like being poured with a bucket of cold water. He became much calmer, but he was still obsessed with the tulip business. He wanted to make progress too much, wanted Senju Tobirama to look at him with admiration, and wanted to become Senju Tobirama's disciple too much. But, Hiruzen, no buts, Danzo, I absolutely disagree with your idea. Our most important task right now is to purchase all the supplies on the list. There's no need to create unnecessary complications. Sarutobi Hiruzen was very firm in his own opinion and flatly rejected Shimura Danzo's proposal. You're so stubborn. Hiruzen, you're going to regret this. Intellectually, he admitted that Sarutobi Hiruzen was right. The most important thing now is to complete the task of purchasing supplies assigned to them by Lord Tobirama and his father. They must avoid any complications if possible. However, emotionally, Danzo Shimura hates the attitude of Sarutobi Hiruzen when talking to him now, so he yells at Sarutobi Hiruzen loudly to express his dissatisfaction. To this Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't care. He's standing up for the right thing. The atmosphere between the two of them became a little awkward for a moment, and neither of them said a few words until the end of the banquet. After the banquet, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were arranged by the daimyo to rest in the accommodation. The task of delivering the letter had been completed, and the remaining task was to purchase supplies, which was a hard task, so the two of them went to bed early. The next day, even though there was a small conflict between the two, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo still got up early and went shopping for supplies together. The first step is procuring the raw materials for making soldier pills. These are the most common consumables for ninjas, capable of quickly restoring chakra, or temporarily serving as rations. As ninjas, carrying a few soldier pills in their pockets is the bare minimum once a mission begins. This face is a bit unfamiliar. I'm going to rip them off. The boss looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo in front of him, who had young and unfamiliar faces. They looked like young ninjas who had just emerged from the ninja clan and could be killed. My two ninja masters, what would you like to buy? The raw materials for making Bingliang pills. We need a large quantity. Probably. Sarutobi Hiruzen said this, emphasizing that the quantity required was large, and his meaning was very clear. I am a big customer, and you have to give me a preferential price. Oh, then you've come to the right place. Last year, there was a flood in the northern part of the Fire Country. That's the main production area for the raw materials for the Bingliang pills, and they suffered heavy losses. It's not easy for other stores to meet your large demand. Then the boss reported a number. After hearing the offer, Danzo Shimura, who was still in a cold war with Hiruzen Sarutobi, became furious and took out the shuriken he carried with him and pointed it at his boss. You profiteer, you dare to raise the price like that? Do you really think I'm an ignorant newbie who doesn't know the market? According to your price, we will have to pay at least 2 million taels more. Fuck it, I'm going to kill you. Sarutobi Hiruzen held down Shimura Danzo's hand with one hand, signaling Danzo to calm down. This is the capital of the Land of Fire. There will be no good results if you cause trouble here. Realizing that the ninja in front of him was not easy to deal with, the boss smirked. He did raise the price a little bit, but it was not as exaggerated as Shimura Danzo said. He only made an extra profit of about 1 million taels. Because the main production area of the materials for the Horimaru was indeed affected by the flood, the price began to rise this year. Young people are just irritable. If you are not satisfied with this price, we can continue to negotiate. Sarutobi Hiruzen used his unique skills and cut the boss's offer in half. Then the boss's face darkened. He now felt that the young man in front of him was here to cause trouble. The ninja world has never been peaceful in recent years, with all kinds of open and covert fighting and fighting. The raw materials for the military ration pills are in short supply and are difficult to sell. How can this be possible at this price? The boss shook his head and reported another number. Then Sarutobi Hiruzen and the other men shook their heads again, and they reported another number. After repeating this many times, Danzo Shimura and Hiruzen Sarutobi talked until their mouths were dry in order to bargain. Danzo was even so anxious that he almost took out his shuriken again, but the boss refused to give in. This is the capital of the Land of Fire. Which ninja dared to take action here? After so many years of doing business, he realized that Shimura Danzo only dared to wave the shuriken for show. In the end, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo still shook their heads. They both felt that the price could be lower. When buying something, one must compare prices from different stores. They could try another store. Hiruzen, that profiteer's last offer just now earned us at least an extra 200,000 ryo. That's more than enough for me to go on a mission. Assholes. I risked my life on this mission, and these businessmen can make money just by talking. Shimura Danzo kept complaining. Generally speaking, a qualified and calm ninja would not say it even if he knew that the daimyo nobles and businessmen lived a life of luxury and made money easily. But Shimura Danzo was still a young man and had not been blunted by reality. He just feels now. Mud. Still doing business to make money. End of this chapter. Chapter 34 Shimura Danzo, Hiruzen, your thinking is too extreme, I 1 and 039T argue with you. Chapter 34 Shimura Danzo, Hiruzen, your thinking is too extreme, I won't argue with you. Please continue reading. Danzo Shimura walked out of the store, complaining incessantly. Sarutobi Hiruzen also had a sullen expression. Although they knew in their hearts that the purchasing task would not be as simple as they imagined, they started off badly and encountered unscrupulous merchants at the first store, which really undermined their self-confidence. Moreover, as the ninja war becomes increasingly serious, these merchants are very clear that they have no worries about selling the goods in their hands. If you don't buy, there are plenty of ninjas who will buy them, which is quite like the style of a computer mall. Let's go, Danzo, to the next one. This is the mission assigned to us by Lord Tobirama. Sarutobi Hiruzen pulled himself together and beckoned Danzo to go to the next shop. Time flies and the morning goes by in a hurry. After a busy morning, they finally negotiated the deal for the Bingliang pills. The price was a little higher than they had expected, but it was barely acceptable. If you really talk about the details of the bargaining, it is really torture and painful. All kinds of conceivable and unexpected rhetoric emerge one after another. Those businessmen are obviously making a lot of money, but they keep shouting that they are not making any money at all and they are selling at a loss. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo are from the traditional Warring States ninja family, and they are still young people. They are not good at bickering at all. These things are really not something that ordinary people can do. They would rather go to the battlefield and kill people. It was noon, and the exhausted two people came to a restaurant for lunch and planned to rest for a while waiting for the food to be served. At another dinner table, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo heard a familiar name again. Tulip. Brother, I'm not kidding you. You can really make a lot of money trading tulips. Just stock up on a bunch of them, and then wait a day or two until the price goes up, and then you can sell them right away. Brother, I won't say anything more. I'll toast you a glass. By the way, big brother, what can we sell these tulips we have in stock? That's just the beginning. Let me tell you, according to gossip, it's not just the nobles of the Fire Nation who like tulips. So are the nobles of the Grass Nation, the Field Nation, and the Rain Nation. I heard they've even become popular in the Earth Nation and the Lightning Nation. Really? Then we can make a fortune this time. Yes, it's a rare opportunity. This opportunity to make money is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Danzo Shimura listened to the whispers coming from the next table, and the desire that was aroused last night rose again. It seemed like tulips could really make a lot of money, and it was easy to make money. I have spent so much time bargaining with those unscrupulous businessmen, and it is really tiring to argue for a long time. I wonder if I should give it a try. Danzo, stop thinking about tulips. We are ninjas. You saw the faces of those unscrupulous merchants this morning. It's easy to get hurt if you rush into the market like this. Sarutobi Hiruzen saw what was in Shimura Danzo's mind at a glance. Danzo must want to try the tulip business again. Out of a ninja's caution, he kindly reminded Shimura Danzo not to think too much. The most important thing now was to complete the purchasing task, as there were still a lot of things to do in the afternoon. But there is truth in the saying that honest advice hurts. Sarutobi Hiruzen's words of warning and preaching made Shimura Danzo very unhappy. Our identities are similar. Why do you, Sarutobi Hiruzen, a bastard, give me orders? You don't think you're better than me, do you? I know, you're so nagging. Danzo Shimura said this very unhappily, and in his heart he was dismissive of Sarutobi Hiruzen's advice. It was just because they were the two of them in the restaurant and there were many people here. He didn't want to quarrel with Sarutobi Hiruzen here. As long as you know. Sarutobi Hiruzen breathed a sigh of relief, a look of relief on his face. He had finally persuaded Danzo. But this expression made Shimura Danzo feel even more unhappy. You think I'm not good enough, so I'm going to prove to you that you're wrong. The competitive spirit of young people is so simple, straightforward and unreasonable. Miso soup is here. The miso soup was served quickly. It was their special request. After arguing for a whole morning, they had to drink some delicious miso soup to moisten their throats. Shimura Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen put aside their dispute for the time being and began to drink the miso soup in front of them. Miso soup is so delicious. X2 The two of them sighed like this, and then today's lunch was quickly served on the table, and they began to feast on it. After lunch, the two rested for a while before planning to begin their afternoon battle. However, just as they stepped out of the restaurant, Shimura Danzo voiced his opinion. Hiruzen, it's too slow for the two of us to move together. Why don't we split up? We've already roughly set a base price, so it'll be more efficient if we split up and negotiate separately. Shimura Danzo said this. That's right, he wanted to get Sarutobi Hiruzen away and go take a look at the tulip business by himself. Sarutobi Hiruzen is such a coward. He doesn't even want to take a look at the tulip business, and he keeps suppressing me. He's so annoying. And your thinking is really old-fashioned. I, Danzo Shimura, will not argue with you. That's not impossible, let's do it this way. As expected, Sarutobi Hiruzen only thought about it briefly before agreeing with Shimura Danzo's suggestion. If the two of them acted separately, the efficiency could indeed be greatly improved. It's so lively here. After sending Sarutobi Hiruzen away, Danzo Shimura immediately went to the tulip trading market that he had been longing for. The entire market was bustling with people coming and going, and the noisy sounds of trading were endless, which opened Danzo Shimura's eyes. All I see are investors with flushed faces, and all I hear are the excited voices of speculators and scalpers. The story of getting rich overnight reached Shimura Danzo's ears, and he couldn't help but think that tulips were more profitable than he thought. The current market is about focusing on the pain points of elite users, finding opportunities in niche areas, leveraging technological advantages to open up new tracks, connecting upstream and downstream industrial chains, achieving internal resource integration, and ultimately forming a positive feedback loop ecosystem to penetrate their minds. Tulip prices are still around halfway up. Oh no, maybe even below halfway. I've already bought the bottom anyway. An unknown speculator was promoting his theory there, and Danzo who happened to pass by heard it. He was shocked by these novel and unfamiliar words. How professional. After wandering around the tulip market for a while, Danzo came to his own conclusion. The nobles of the Fire Nation, the nobles of the small countries surrounding the Fire Nation, and the nobles of the faraway Earth Nation and Lightning Nation all highly admire tulips. Merchants are selling tulips all over the ninja world. In short, the tulip market is full of vitality and everything is flourishing. I think this is an opportunity. Danzo Shimura has always been a man of bold ideas and actions. After waiting in line for a while, he came to the merchant. What? Selling from 1,000,000 taels. Would it be so outrageous? Danzo Shimura was shocked by the merchant's starting price. This is 1,000,000 taels. Master Ninja, what do you think? Tulips are now used by nobles to prove their identity and status. It's no longer the time when you could buy individual flowers. Of course, if you want to buy one or two, you can go to those small, low-end markets. But the flowers are all inferior. Only those who are poor and want to show off will buy them there. Noble gentlemen wouldn't buy so few, they buy by the room. And I also offer professional storage services. It's not expensive. Danzo Shimura hesitated. He really wanted to try the tulip business, but the entry price of 1,000,000 taels was too much. What are you doing in front? If you can't afford it, don't waste your time there. Yes, yes. Poor ninjas, stay out of this. Just as Danzo was hesitating, the people queuing behind him began to urge him impatiently. A lot of mocking words were heard. For a moment, Danzo was at a loss. In his mind, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face appeared as he lectured him. Danzo, you have no ability to interfere in the tulip business. Who said I have no money? 1,000,000 taels, I'll take it. I'm asking for your collection, monthly tickets, and reading. Don't keep up with the new book, it's killing me. End of this chapter. Chapter 35 Shimura Danzo, this tulip market is very healthy. Is this a deal? Did I really spend 1,000,000 taels in one go? Danzo Shimura took out 1,000,000 taels of silver in a daze to complete the tulip transaction. It was not until the transaction was completed and the trader took him to the warehouse to pick up the goods that he finally reacted. I actually spent 1,000,000 taels to buy a bunch of tulips. That's 1,000,000 taels. But there was no chance to regret now, because the money and goods had already been paid, and returning and refunding the goods was not realistic, and Danzo felt that he could not afford to lose face. Master Ninja, these are the tulips you purchased. They are all top-quality flowers blooming in all their splendor. The trader looked at the tulips in front of him and introduced them to Danzo. Danzo looked at the tulips in front of him and admitted that these tulips were indeed beautiful, but, to exchange 1,000,000 taels for a bunch of flowers he was really a little impulsive. At this time, Danzo was a newbie who had just entered the speculative market. Now I feel nervous, scared, and excited. In short, these emotions are incomprehensible to outsiders, and only those who have experienced it can understand them. Master Ninja, are you going to transport all these tulips home? If it's nearby, we can deliver it to you for free. But if it's farther away, considering that tulips are very delicate, we'll have to hire a professional to transport them. The trading house also has professionals to serve you. Of course, if you want to store the flowers for a while, the trading house will also provide storage services. Although the price is a little expensive, it is definitely worth it. If any tulips are damaged during the storage period, we will compensate you according to the price. The trader adheres to the principle of customer first. He asked Shimura Danzo very attentively. It can be said that he provided the best after-sales service. This is also the guarantee that their tulip trading company can grow bigger and stronger in this opportunity. Well, you guys are really thoughtful. Danzo Shimura nodded. He still liked this kind of store. Their service awareness was really good, unlike the group of unscrupulous businessmen this morning. Of course, he had no intention of taking the tulips back. There was no way the place where he and Sarutobi Hiruzen lived would be able to accommodate so many tulips. Moreover, Danzo Shimura didn't want Sarutobi Hiruzen to know that this was his own action. I choose to stay here. I understand, guest. The trader smiled and said, it seems like another customer speculating on tulips. He is no longer surprised by this. However, he did not expect that Ninja would also get involved in the tulip business. Then, the trader told the number of tulip custody, and this number made Shimura Danzo frown again. It's expensive, so damn expensive, but Danzo still paid the money honestly. There was no turning back now. He just hoped that the tulips could really make him some money, even if it was just a few tens of thousands of taels. After all transactions are completed, Danzo Shimura immediately went to the tulip trading house, intending to continue today's purchasing mission. However, not long after he walked out of the tulip trading house, his heart began to beat uncontrollably rapidly and an inexplicable fear arose in his heart. Forget it, we can put the purchasing task on hold for now. There's no rush. We'll buy everything on the list. It'll take at least a month, so one more afternoon won't make a difference. That's 1,000,000 taels. At this moment, Danzo Shimura had completely lost the desire to continue his purchasing mission. His heart was completely focused on the tulip trade. He quickly convinced himself, then immediately changed direction and returned to the tulip trading market. Tulip market. The market was still the same as before, with people coming and going, the sound of noise and clamor was endless, and it was filled with greed, anger, and ignorance. But as soon as Shimura Danzo arrived at this place, his heart, which had been beating rapidly, began to slow down gradually, and the inexplicable fear gradually disappeared. He suddenly found that he liked this place very much. The traders here spoke nicely, and coming here was like going home. Master Ninja, why are you back again? The trader who had just received him saw Shimura Danzo walking around in the market, so he approached him and asked him about an excellent salesperson, saying that he should never give up any opportunity to make money. "Oh, I have nothing to do this afternoon, so I came here to take a look." As Shimura Danzo said this, he naturally couldn't tell the truth to the trader in front of him. As soon as he walked out of the tulip trading market, his heart would beat faster and he would feel anxious. Only here could he relax. "Oh, so that's it. Ninja-sama, why don't you go sit in that room over there? Not only does the room provide free tea, but it also displays the market price of tulips. This is a collaboration between several high-ranking figures and a number of wealthy merchants. Currently, the prices are updated daily. In the future, they might be able to update every half a day, or even every few hours." The trader saw through Danzo's thoughts at a glance. He had seen many guests like him. However, he did not point it out. Instead, he kindly recommended that Danzo go to the room over there. In this way, Danzo could drink tea while observing the price trends. "Yeah, thanks for the reminder." "You're welcome, Ninja-sama. If you want to buy tulips next time, please remember to give me priority to serve you." Danzo Shimura nodded and agreed. After all, this trader was really considerate. He also didn't expect that the service of the tulip trading market would be so thoughtful, and that the tulip prices could be updated daily. As a ninja, he is very sensitive to collecting information, and he is well aware of the difficulty. Those big shots seemed to have great power, but Danzo didn't think much about it and walked straight into the room not far away. Once in the door, Danzo saw a huge blackboard, on which not only was written today's price of tulips, but also the price trend of tulips in recent times. It was almost a wave-like rise. Not long ago, there was a price explosion, and the price doubled in one day. After that, it fluctuated steadily. Even if the price of tulips dropped briefly, it would almost always return to its original price the next day. This is a very healthy market. After this analysis, Danzo Shimura came to his own conclusion. Then, seeing that there was a new person coming, the other people in the room also began to gather towards Danzo Shimura. A group of speculators get together with nothing to do except analyzing the good market and showing off how much money they have made. Not long after, Danzo joined in very smoothly. He had just entered the market and was feeling very insecure. End of this chapter. Chapter 36. Going all in is a kind of wisdom. Chapter 36. Going all in is a kind of wisdom. Please add to your favorites, follow the story, and vote with monthly tickets. Time flies. An afternoon passed quietly. Danzo Shimura reluctantly left the tulip trading market because it was almost time for him to meet with Hiruzen Sarutobi. "Danzo, how did things go this afternoon?" "I went to 3 or 4 stores in a row and finally negotiated with one." Sarutobi Hiruzen asked about Shimura Danzo's situation this afternoon, but Danzo had spent the entire afternoon bragging to the group of speculators at the tulip market, so he could only give a perfunctory answer. "Hiruzen, don't even mention it. All I met were a bunch of profiteers. I'll try again tomorrow." Danzo answered perfunctorily with a look of regret on his face, but Sarutobi Hiruzen did not doubt it much. Because he had also encountered a group of unscrupulous businessmen, and he had finally negotiated with one of them and got a suitable price. And it's understandable that Danzo has bad luck. "Then let's call it a day. Let's go have dinner first, then have a good rest tonight. We will continue tomorrow." Sarutobi Hiruzen said this. He was not like Danzo, who sat alone in the tulip trading hall and boasted with that group of people, and even had free tea to drink. After a busy afternoon, Sarutobi Hiruzen only felt dry mouth and exhausted both physically and mentally. "Ah." Danzo Shimura nodded and breathed a sigh of relief that he had finally deceived Hiruzen. The two of them came to the restaurant where they were going to have lunch, and as usual, they ordered 2 bowls of miso soup to moisten their throats. Miso soup is delicious. As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen saw the miso soup being served on the table, he couldn't wait to take a big sip and then sighed. But as soon as he raised his head, he saw Shimura Danzo sitting there, absent-mindedly fiddling with the spoon in the miso soup bowl. He didn't drink the soup in big gulps like he was thirsty, so he asked, "Danzo, why don't you drink the miso soup?" "Oh, I feel too hot. Let it cool down first." Danzo Shimura woke up from his trance. He was now sitting in a restaurant, but his heart had actually been left in the tulip market. As for the miso soup, he drank tea in the room all afternoon and didn't feel thirsty at all. It didn't take long. The food was served on the table, and Sarutobi Hiruzen ate it with relish as if it were noon, while Danzo only took a few bites before putting down his chopsticks. Sarutobi Hiruzen tried to talk to Danzo several times, but was always ignored by Danzo. However, he could understand Danzo's feelings. "Danzo, it seems you're unhappy because you came back empty-handed this afternoon." "Hey, but I'm a little bit better than him. But I can teach him bargaining skills tonight." Sarutobi Hiruzen felt a little proud, but he still planned to enlighten Danzo at night. Because after all, they were all companions. Danzo was still wondering if the tulips would rise in price tomorrow. If it rises sharply, it will be able to slap Sarutobi Hiruzen in the face. In a rather silent atmosphere, the two of them finished their dinner with their own ulterior motives. After returning to his residence, Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to break the silence and teach Shimura Danzo some bargaining tips. But he was rejected by Danzo, and his tone was like that of a middle-aged man who returned home exhausted after a day of work and faced his wife. "Hiruzen, I'm too tired today. Let's talk tomorrow." "All right." Sarutobi Hiruzen could only nod, and the two of them settled down to rest. That night, Sarutobi Hiruzen slept very soundly and soon began to snore because he had really worked all day. Danzo Shimura tossed and turned, unable to sleep at all. He was still worried about tulips. This was a 1 million investment. It's been like this for a long time. He entered a trance-like dream while he was half asleep. Danzo had 2 dreams in a row. In the first dream, he dreamed that he had lost all his money and was finally discovered by Senju Tobirama. He was frightened awake all of a sudden, and after calming down, he closed his eyes and dozed off again. Unknowingly, he fell into a dream again. This time, he dreamed that he had made a lot of money. Senju Tobirama praised him and accepted him as his disciple. In the end, dawn broke. Hiruzen Sarutobi, refreshed after a good night's sleep, nudged Danzo Shimura, who was still sound asleep. "Danzo, wake up." "That's enough, Hiruzen. I'm the Hokage." "What Hokage?" "Danzo, wake up." Danzo Shimura opened his eyes and saw Sarutobi Hiruzen urging him to get up. He quickly woke up and came back, feeling quite lost and sighing in his heart. It turned out to be a dream. "Danzo, let's go have breakfast first. Let's split up and act like we did yesterday." Sarutobi Hiruzen said this, intending to teach Danzo some bargaining tips while eating breakfast. Shimura Danzo nodded, and the two quickly got dressed and went to a breakfast shop. "Danzo, let me tell you about bargaining. First, you have to cut the price in half. After bargaining continuously, you can pretend to leave and count 3 numbers in your mind. The boss will definitely come back and grab you." "Well Hiruzen, what if the boss doesn't turn around and pull you back?" "Then change to another one right away. This one is a profiteer." Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke solemnly, but Shimura Danzo ignored him. In his heart, he was already eager to go to the tulip market to check the trading price of tulips today. After the two finished their breakfast, Danzo saw Sarutobi Hiruzen walking away. After walking around twice, he immediately came to the tulip trading market that he had been thinking about. Tulip market. This place is really lively. It feels like there are a little more people here than yesterday. Danzo Shimura looked at the people coming and going in the tulip trading market and couldn't help but sigh, then immediately walked towards the room he was in yesterday. "The price of tulips would be updated today, as soon as I walked in the door." Danzo Shimura saw the eye-catching rising figures. Soaring. "The price has increased 3 levels. I made 300,000 taels in just one night." The surprise on Shimura Danzo's face was beyond words, and the worry he had been feeling all night was finally relieved. As more and more people entered the room, noisy sounds were heard again. Danzo met a group of friends he had just met yesterday. They sat together in groups of 3 or 5, drinking tea and discussing the market. "It's rising again. A rumor spread yesterday that a large number of wealthy merchants from the land of Earth have arrived in the land of Fire. Those of you new to the industry have caught up with this trend. Why didn't you tell me about this insider information? If I had known, I would have increased my position yesterday." "Tisk, gossip. I paid for this gossip." Danzo mingled among them with a happy look on his face, eagerly trying to find out the news about Tulip. "Hey, new guy, your name is Danzo, right? How much did you earn?" "Not bad, there are 300,000 taels." "You're so happy about 300,000 taels. Everyone here has made at least 1,000,000 taels. 10 million taels is common, and there are people who have made hundreds of millions. There are even those who are brave enough to go all in and have made tens or even hundreds of millions." When Danzo Shimura heard this, although he didn't understand some of the terms, such as shoha, he still couldn't help but gasp. "Billions of taels. How terrifying. Dude, what does the word stud mean? You don't even know what stud means. You're really a complete novice. Stud poker is a kind of wisdom. I am looking for readers, collections, and monthly votes. Today I sat at my workstation and took a break from my busy schedule to write 2 chapters. It was very comfortable. I have to say one last thing. Remember to keep reading, don't support me, dear readers." End of this chapter. Chapter 37 Uchiha Makoto, a real man is born between heaven and earth, how can he be depressed and I? Chapter 37 Uchiha Makoto, a real man is born between heaven and earth, how can he be depressed and inferior to others for long? The man explained the meaning of shoha to Danzo Shimura. Shimura Danzo listened to the words in his ear, understood the meaning of shohand, and then repeated what the man had just said. Shohand is a kind of wisdom. Savor it carefully, although Danzo still couldn't fully understand the meaning of this sentence. But he inexplicably felt that this sentence was so damn good. Young man, if you have a great goal, you need to work hard for it countless times, but opportunities will only appear once or twice. Seize the opportunity and go all in. You're still young. Even if you lose, it's no big deal. You can just start over. Work harder and disperse earlier. Everyone was talking in a hurry. This is a typical motivational quote, it's actually a pyramid scheme. The speculators in the room simply opened their mouths to say such things. It's just bragging anyway, what's the harm in bragging? If someone really believed it and made a lot of money, they could use it as a topic of conversation in the future and even get unexpected benefits. If someone loses everything, it's not their money, you deserve to lose this stupid money. That's a good point, brother. Young people should be fearless and forge ahead. If you're not passionate when you're young, how can you still be called a young person? Yes, yes. Several people spoke excitedly. The atmosphere in the room quickly became lively, and for a moment it was filled with a happy atmosphere. Now everyone has made money. Human beings are truly social animals. They are not only gregarious animals, but also can live independently only in society. Shimura Dan hid in such an atmosphere, and his emotions were quickly infected by the group of people in the room. Listening to the inspiring slogans, his hot brain could not help but begin to fantasize. 300,000 taels was earned so easily in just one night. If it's 10 million, that's 3 million taels. If it's 100 million, that's 30 million taels. Making money is as easy as breathing. A feeling of regret surged in Danzo's heart. This was 30 million taels. If he had just done his missions honestly as before, he might not be able to earn this much money even in 10 years, but this is just Danzo's fantasy. He can't be so crazy as to invest so much money in something he is not familiar with for the first time. Besides, this is not his money, but the money of his family and the village. If he makes money, everyone will be happy, but if he loses money, he will definitely be in trouble. Danzo thought so and shook his head, trying to get rid of those random thoughts from his mind. But the idea of increasing his position and going all in had already taken root in his heart. The happy time of bragging always passes in the blink of an eye. It's almost noon. Even though Danzo Shimura still wanted to stay here, he had to leave because it was almost time to meet up with Hiruzen Sarutobi. But Danzo still has no intention of telling Sarutobi Hiruzen that he has earned 300,000 ryo from the tulip business. I have to quietly work hard to make money, and then surprise everyone. Let Sarutobi Hiruzen regret it alone. Thought of here the corners of Danzo's mouth curled up, and he couldn't help but hum softly. Then he walked briskly to the meeting place agreed upon with Sarutobi Hiruzen. Danzo, how did your mission go this morning? As soon as the two met, Sarutobi Hiruzen asked about the progress of Shimura Danzo's shopping mission this morning, but Danzo had spent the entire morning drinking tea and talking nonsense at the tulip market. He gave Sarutobi Hiruzen the same perfunctory answer as yesterday. Well, it's the same as always. I ran into a bunch of profiteers. But it doesn't matter. It's inevitable. Really? Sarutobi Hiruzen was slightly stunned. The Danzo in front of him looked full of energy and happy, and did not look like he had returned empty-handed at all. You're so happy even though we haven't closed a single deal. That's strange. Hiruzen, why are you looking at me like that? Come on, let's go eat. I'm exhausted after a busy morning. I'm treating you today. Danzo, why didn't you tell me earlier? Go, go. Danzo Shimura didn't want to get entangled with Sarutobi Hiruzen anymore, so he just took out his secret weapon and invited him to eat. Sure enough, the effect was remarkable. Now, inside the Fire Nation Palace. Cheng, you are finally here. Take a look at this letter. What should we do? The daimyo of the Land of Fire sat on the sofa and handed the letter in his hand to Uchiha Makoto, who had rushed over overnight. Such a matter definitely could not be discussed with Uchiha Makoto in a letter, and the two had to discuss it face to face. Your Highness, please don't be impatient. Let me take a look at the contents of this letter first. Uchiha Makoto read the letter in his hand. In fact, the content of the letter written by Senju Tobirama had already been mentioned in the letter from the daimyo informing him to come to the capital of the Land of Fire as soon as possible. But too much of it was made up by the daimyo himself. God knows how much wrong information the daimyo has given. After reading the letter, Uchiha Makoto has a general understanding of the current situation. The current Konoha plot line is not much different from the original work. It is just because of the threat theory of Hashirama Senju that he promoted, Konoha has been reluctant to cooperate with the daimyo. This is very beneficial for Uchiha Makoto, because the later the daimyo started cooperating with Konoha, the slower Konoha developed. As for the fact that Hashirama Senju will come to negotiate with the daimyo in person as mentioned in the letter, it probably means that Hashirama Senju will personally visit the daimyo with gifts and ask the daimyo to cooperate with Konoha. If the daimyo disagrees, Hashirama Senju will not even mind kowtow to the daimyo in order to achieve his goal. Not in a hurry, this letter can be put aside for now and let Konoha dry for a while. Let the bullets fly for a while. Moreover, he had to find a way to participate in the negotiations between the daimyo and Konoha, and try his best to make the daimyo remain suspicious of Senju Hashirama. Uchiha Makoto was thinking this when he heard the daimyo's voice. Makoto, as the daimyo, I do not wish to meet with an extremely dangerous ninja like Senju Hashirama. So, how about you deal with Senju Hashirama? The daimyo said so. Anyway, he didn't want to meet Hashirama Senju. In case when talking, what if Hashirama Senju threw the cup in his hand to the ground? A great name cannot stand under a dangerous wall. Cough cough. Uchiha Makoto listened to the voice in his ear. He couldn't help coughing and stared at daimyo. Lao deng. If I really have the ability to deal with Senju Hashirama, believe it or not, the first thing I would do now is to deal with you, and then put your clothes on myself. A real man is born between heaven and earth, how can he be depressed and live under someone else's control for long? End of this chapter. Chapter 38 Sarutobi Hiruzen, Danzo, you really got what you deserved. Am I a clown? Uchiha Makoto glanced at the ignorant daimyo indifferently and didn't bother with him much. Since the daimyo is unwilling to meet Hashirama Senju, he can do it for him. As a middleman, he will have more opportunities to manipulate the situation. Your Highness, leave this matter to me. Put this letter aside for now. If Hashirama Senju comes to the capital of the Land of Fire himself, I will be responsible for meeting him. That would be great. After receiving Uchiha Makoto's assurance, a smile appeared on the daimyo's face. After the letter issue was resolved, the two discussed the Tulip project. Now Tulip's plan is about to reach its climax, according to the information currently available. In the next month, cash flow from all countries in the ninja world will flow into the Tulip market. Uchiha Makoto plans to launch a new trading method such as contract trading at the appropriate time. This trick is called adding fuel to the fire. The two chatted for a while and finalized some specific details of the plan's implementation, such as the fact that experts in spreading false rumors and stirring up trouble must be placed in various Tulip trading markets in the Fire Nation. About half an hour passed. After the two finished their conversation, Uchiha Makoto left the room. Now he had to rest for a night. Since he received the letter from the daimyo, he rushed here overnight. The week passed quickly. The price of tulips began to rise even faster than before. Danzo Shimura, who plunged into the tulip speculation market, was immersed in the happiness of rising every day. His worldview was severely damaged. How can making money be so difficult? You just need to use money to buy a batch of tulips, and then you can wake up the next day to make a lot of money. This is not something you can do just by having hands. At the same time, his desires began to overflow as his worldview changed, and could even be said to be distorted. He had originally planned to invest only 1 million taels, but now Danzo has begun to embezzle large quantities of the family's purchase funds to buy tulips several times, and the current amount has reached a staggering 50 million taels. The returns are naturally extremely generous, and his income has doubled. In just 1 week, he earned 50 million taels. What a terrible profit. The money that Senju Tobirama tried so hard to embezzle was probably not as much as what Danzo earned this week. But Danzo has not chosen to stop yet. According to rumors circulating in the market, this is just the beginning, and there will be a steady influx of funds. The price is still halfway up the mountain. How can you stop now? If you don't give it your all when you can make a lot of money, you don't know when you'll encounter such an opportunity again. Such words were spread everywhere in the tulip exchange, and Shimura Danzo agreed with them deeply. That's what he thought. Those timid people who get off the bus halfway and want to sell at the slightest sign of trouble. Why are you so scared when the price drops a little? So what if the price plummets? According to Shimura Danzo's analysis of past price trends, these are all short-term corrections, a reversal to catch up, and a technical adjustment. Those who choose to sell now are all brainless leaks. Sooner or later, they will have to buy the goods back at a high price. I have to go see that idiot Hiruzen again. Poor Sarutobi Hiruzen, what can he do today? It's nothing more than haggling with those profiteers over a few 100,000 taels of silver. Danzo Shimura thought so, strode forward, and left the tulip trading market with a sense of satisfaction. He had been sitting in the tulip trading market all day today. In fact, ever since he made a fortune in the tulip market, he had already put the task of purchasing supplies behind him. In his opinion, such tasks can be done at any time, and the most important thing now is to make a lot of money. Now that you have made money, are you still worried about not being able to buy things? Therefore, Danzo Shimura's purchasing task progressed slowly, far behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, but Danzo's attitude was different now. In the first few days, Danzo still needed to think of excuses and pretend to deceive Sarutobi Hiruzen, but now he didn't even want to pretend. Hiruzen, we got nothing today again. Those guys are all profiteers. Shimura Danzo's face was full of joy, and he didn't feel disappointed at all because of the delayed progress. Hiruzen Sarutobi, standing before him, wore a grim expression. Hiruzen Sarutobi was no fool. At first, Danzo's disguise could still fool him, but later Danzo's behavior became more and more excessive, and now he doesn't even pretend. In order to find out what Danzo had been doing these days, Sarutobi Hiruzen specially followed him today and saw with his own eyes that Danzo Shimura walked into the tulip trading market, and then did not come out until the time the two had agreed to meet. Danzo, you are still lying in front of me. Aren't you making fun of me like a monkey? Sarutobi Hiruzen muttered indignantly in his heart, and then confronted Danzo directly. Danzo, stop pretending. You haven't been carrying out any procurement work for a while now, right? I already know the truth. How can you be worthy of Master Tobirama? Business like tulips is not something we ninjas can get involved in. Danzo, you must turn back as soon as possible. Danzo Shimura's expression changed, and then he realized something. Hiruzen, you're following me. Yes, I did follow you, but it was all for your own good. Right now, our most important task is to complete the procurement of supplies. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke righteously, his face showing a righteous expression. As a companion, he couldn't bear to watch Danzo go further and further down the wrong path. Okay. I originally planned to continue to get along with you as an ordinary ninja, but in return I got alienated by you. I'm going to show my cards. I'm not going to pretend anymore. When Danzo Shimura saw that Sarutobi Hiruzen had discovered his secret, he simply stopped hiding it from him. Calculating the time, it was time to reveal the truth to Hiruzen. Danzo, why do you still have this attitude? I'm only thinking about you. We are companions. I can't bear to see you make more and more mistakes. Faced with Sarutobi Hiruzen's honest advice, Shimura Danzo couldn't help but curl up the corners of his mouth, and even couldn't help but hum. Hiruzen, you're not a bad person, you just have a very narrow vision. Now that you can tell me these two heartfelt words, I've decided to take you with me to make a fortune. What do you mean by making a lot of money, Danzo? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked in confusion, while Shimura Danzo slowly stretched out 5 fingers. Hiruzen, guess how much money I've made recently? 50,000 taels. Danzo shook his head. 5 million taels. Danzo shook his head again. It can't be 50 million taels. Sarutobi Hiruzen's voice trembled slightly. Danzo, you really made a fortune, am I a clown now? Please collect, read and vote for me. Especially follow-up reading. End of this chapter. Chapter 39, with such a talented person like Crouching Dragon and Phoenix, Konoha will surely prosper. Chapter 39, with such a talented person like Crouching Dragon and Phoenix, Konoha will surely prosper. 50 million taels. You really made 50 million taels. Sarutobi Hiruzen had an expression of disbelief on his face, and kept confirming the number to Danzo. As the saying goes, I'm not afraid of my brothers living a hard life, I'm just afraid of my brothers driving a Land Rover. Sarutobi Hiruzen really didn't want Danzo to go further down the wrong path, and hoped that he would get better. But Danzo, how did you become better than me? How can you be serious? Sarutobi Hiruzen now feels that this world is too absurd. Danzo, who was similar to him before, has now turned into a rich man. Yes, Hiruzen. It's just 50 million, it's nothing. Danzo Shimura showed a smug smile on his face, waved his hand with an indifferent look, and felt extremely happy in his heart. He has been waiting for this day for a long time and now it has finally come. Sarutobi Hiruzen, didn't you say before that I didn't have the ability to get involved in the tulip business? What now? Why don't you stop barking? Say, looking my eyes. Facing the arrogant Danzo, Sarutobi Hiruzen could only look depressed and speechless. The task of purchasing supplies can be done at any time. But the most important thing for me now is to seize the opportunity and continue to make money. So, Hiruzen, what do you have to say? Danzo Shimura asked Sarutobi Hiruzen with a hint of joking. Did you, Danzo? No. Sarutobi Hiruzen held it in for a long time, and finally could only say the 2 words no. That's great. Now let's go eat. It's my treat. Danzo Shimura said this with a smug look on his face, then strode forward, while Hiruzen Sarutobi walked behind him with heavy steps, and soon the 2 of them arrived at the dining area one after the other. Arrived at the restaurant. Shimura Danzo smoothly booked a room, then took the menu and pointed at a few cheap dishes on the menu and said to the waiter, I don't want any of these dishes, I want all the rest. Okay. At Danzo's command, the waiter left with an excited look on his face. Such a wealthy customer was rare, and today he was lucky to meet a wealthy big customer. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting on the chair, felt very uncomfortable. He knew that Danzo was deliberately showing off in front of him, but he had no way to stop him. Because having money means competing. In this way, the 2 began today's meal time. Shimura Danzo now had a great appetite and ate the food in front of him with relish, but Sarutobi Hiruzen was feeling so uncomfortable that he couldn't eat at all. The reason is naturally very simple. Danzo Shimura and Hiruzen Sarutobi are both companions and rivals, and both want to become disciples of Tobirama Senju. Now Danzo Shimura gave him such a big thing without saying a word, that's 50 million taels. Just thinking about it, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt upset. After returning to the village, Danzo took out the 50 million ryo he earned. I'm afraid that Lord Tobirama will look at him differently, and may even directly accept Danzo Shimura as his disciple. As for myself, I can only watch with envy from the sidelines. Thinking about this, Hiruzen Sarutobi's mood worsened. He could not accept such a thing. The 2 were obviously about the same when they came, but when they left, Danzo had upgraded his weapons. This fate was even more painful than killing Sarutobi Hiruzen. Progress is always a slow process, one step at a time. So naturally, Sarutobi Hiruzen also turned his attention to the tulip trade. It didn't make sense that if Danzo Shimura could do it, he couldn't. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen still maintained his rationality. If he were asked to take a shuriken to the battlefield, he would definitely be familiar with it. The tulip business was still too unfamiliar to him. Therefore, he must have a senior to guide him into the industry. Even if it is Danzo, even Danzo. Danzo, I have a request. Can you take me with you? I really want to improve my tulip business. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke very sincerely. He had never been so humble in front of his peers, but if it was for the sake of becoming Lord Tobirama's disciple, it would all be worth it. Oh. Hiruzen, why are you thinking of getting involved in the tulip business? Didn't you say before that ninjas should do what ninjas should do? Faced with Shimura Danzo's teasing, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked a little embarrassed, but still forced a smile to say that his past understanding was too shallow. Okay, then I'll take you with me, reluctantly. Danzo Shimura did not make things too difficult for Sarutobi Hiruzen and readily agreed to Sarutobi Hiruzen's request. After all, the two of them have always been companions. Even if we are competitors, it is still within the scope of healthy competition. Hiruzen, just be honest and submit to me. I, Danzo, am stronger than you. Danzo Shimura quickly taught Sarutobi Hiruzen his trading experience in the tulip market. Although the price of tulips has begun to rise, it is still at the bottom price. It is not too late to enter the market now. Hiruzen, after deducting the money spent on purchases these days, how much funds do you have left? Sarutobi Hiruzen calculated in his mind that this time they brought 800 million taels. The two of them chose to use half of the funds to purchase supplies. The funds for purchasing supplies had almost been spent on more than 30 million taels, and there were still 370 million taels left in their hands. That's good, just cut off the change and take out 70 million taels to buy it. What 70 million taels? Danzo, you're not kidding, are you? Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but exclaimed. He didn't expect Danzo to be so bold now. Could 70 million be considered a small amount? Do I look at you like I'm joking? The tulip market has seen a huge influx of capital. If you don't buy in now, do you have to wait until the price goes up before buying someone else's expensive tulips? What I regret most now is that when I first entered the market, I was timid and hesitant, so I only spent a small amount of money. If I had someone to guide me from the beginning, I would have made more than 50 million taels. As Danzo Shimura said this, a look of regret appeared on his face. He was really slapping his thigh now. Why didn't I buy more at the beginning? Sarutobi Hiruzen was still hesitating. 70 million taels was an astronomical figure for him. It was no exaggeration to say that it was enough to buy his life. It was the price of 2 asumas. Hiruzen, you don't know what you're afraid of. In this market, only the brave can make money, while the timid can only be the leaks. Especially when prices fluctuate, these people are eager to sell at a lower price as soon as the price drops even a little bit. Based on my research on tulip prices, I tell you, the lower the price, the more you should buy. If there's a big drop, you have to buy the bottom and go all in. Sarutobi Hiruzen listened to these words which he half understood, and nodded woodenly as if he was the leak that Danzo looked down upon. End of this chapter. Chapter 40 The Great Collapse. Chapter 40 The Great Collapse. Please read, add to your favorites, and vote with monthly tickets. At the dinner table, Shimura Danzo boasted about the experience he had gained in the tulip trading market during this period. One proper noun after another. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't quite understand what he said, he was deeply shocked and finally accepted Shimura Danzo's suggestion as a matter of course. Danzo, is this really possible? This is 70 million taels. Do not talk nonsense. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who invested 70 million ryo in one go, was frightened at first, even to the point of being unable to sleep. However, when he saw the horrific returns a few days later, he completely forgot his initial fear and began to regret not investing more at the time, just like Shimura Danzo. Fire Nation Palace. Kazuma, it seems the time has come for this price. After all this publicity, most of the wealthy merchants and nobles in the ninja world have already invested a huge amount of money in the tulip market. Now let's start this feast and revelry. Uchiha Makoto sat in a chair, looking at the price trends, capital flows, and the reports made by professional analysts sent by the daimyo, and felt that it was time to start hyping the contract business. Yes, Master Cheng. Kazuma nodded. Now the name of tulips is not only resounding throughout the aristocratic circle, but the price is also rising steadily along with the amount of funds. The next step is the craziest time for prices, and the stock of tulips is also beginning to decrease continuously. It will soon be a point where there is no stock to speculate. At this time, it is most appropriate to take out the contract transaction. It is conceivable that physical transactions alone have become so crazy. Once they are converted into contract transactions, the turnover rate is expected to soar significantly. I am afraid that not only wealthy merchants, but even those high-ranking nobles will be jealous of the profits generated by such transactions and will participate in them without hesitation. Moreover, according to the existing information, even the ninjas who usually only focus on completing missions have joined in. Although this is only a small part. These ninjas are basically desperate criminals like the wandering ninjas in the ninja world. Those ninja clans, especially the big ninja clans, will never get involved in such things. They are not good at it and instinctively don't want to do business. For them, being a soldier and getting paid is a matter of course. Thinking about other things for even a second longer can be said to be a crime, not to mention the current situation. Most of the well-known ninja clans in the ninja world, big and small, almost all focus on how to establish a ninja village and how to join a powerful ninja village, as these are matters that concern the future of the family. This is also where Kazuma feels extremely lucky. Although his boss is thick-skinned and black-hearted, he still maintains his bottom line and does not implicate the ninja clan. There will inevitably be a mess after the feast. With such a large number of sickles cutting down tulips, who knows how many nobles and wealthy businessmen will lose their fortunes because of tulips and end up jumping down like flying men. To put it bluntly, this group of people are just rich and powerful. In the face of strength, money, wealth, and power are nothing. Although this group of ninjas still don't realize this. The victims this time are almost all wealthy merchants and nobles. They cannot shake the current situation in the ninja world at all. If the ninja clan also gets involved, they will be bankrupt. That would easily blow up the powder keg of the ninja world. A group of ninjas whose wealth has been drained from their homes are capable of doing anything, especially considering that the ninja industry itself is an industry that relies on youth. Ninjas who can live beyond 40 years old and spend their old age in peace are even rarer than giant pandas. The best among the ninjas are the young and handsome guys who dare to fight and kill and are not afraid of their lives. To put it nicely, these young ninjas are passionate, energetic, and bold in thinking and acting. To put it bluntly, they are completely brainless and act on impulse. Soon, under Uchiha Makoto's arrangement, as the price of tulips skyrocketed, the contract trading model quietly emerged in major tulip trading markets in the Land of Fire. Then everyone was stunned. Who knew tulip trading could be done like this? No doubt the emergence of this trading model has been followed by even greater craziness. Originally, people had to buy tulips to speculate and trade, but now they don't even need tulips, they can trade by simply taking out a contract. This model is also particularly convenient for managing and recording price increases, with many advantages that physical tulip transactions cannot match. Along with extremely high turnover rates and crazy profits, more and more nobles and wealthy merchants have participated. Of course, there are also Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. The two of them had completely lost their minds and were caught up in the extravagant and decadent tulip trading market, completely forgetting their original purchasing task. Hiruzen, this market is crazy. I just calculated that the two of us have probably earned over 300 million. There shouldn't be anyone in the family richer than us too. Yes, Danzo. Danzo, Shimura and Hiruzen Sarutobi were celebrating happily. They were now considering whether to throw all the remaining purchasing funds into the tulip contract trading market. Such a market was really too tempting to be jealous. It would be unacceptable not to go all in. Hiruzen, how about we go all in? Stud poker is a kind of wisdom, I think it's time. Danzo Shimura felt that what he earned now was not enough and he had to make a big fortune. When he returned, he could just use money to make Lord Tobirama dizzy and beg him to accept the two of them. Well, that's not good. What's wrong? Look, now even those rice ball sellers in the Land of Fire know that tulips can make money. With a market like this, what are you still worried about? Shimura Danzo spoke with great confidence, and Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had been blinded by the interests, was quickly persuaded by him. The two of them waved their hands and decided to put all their money into the tulip trading market, hoping to make another fortune, but the price of tulips had actually been high for a long time, and the contract transaction was like adding fuel to the fire, and it was a flash in the pan. Uchiha Makoto and the daimyo had actually been selling them off frantically. Danzo Shimura and Hiruzen Sarutobi were first-time investors. Experienced investors knew that if even a street vendor selling rice balls knew which stocks were profitable, they should run away quickly. The crazy days didn't last long. Just 3 days after the all-in battle between Danzo Shimura and Hiruzen Sarutobi, a young ninja from the countryside who had never seen the world ate a valuable tulip as an onion in public. The owner of the tulip was like a madman and asked him to pay compensation. The little ninja spread his hands and said, "It's just a flower. What's so valuable about it?" Then the tulip market seemed to be hit hard by this statement. In fact, the price could not rise any higher and began to collapse. Overnight, the price of tulips has plummeted 3 times in a row. Stop supporting me. This is going to kill me. End of this chapter. Chapter 41, The Museum and 039's Twin Stars, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. Chapter 41, The Twin Stars of the Museum, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura. Danzo, what should we do now? Didn't you say the recent big drops were just corrections, picking people up? Why has this been going on for several days? Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes were bloodshot and his beard was untidy. He hadn't slept for a day or two. His mental state was listless and he asked Danzo Shimura beside him in a panic. Only, Shimura Danzo's situation was no better than Sarutobi Hiruzen's. He hadn't slept for a day or two, and kept muttering to himself, how could this happen? It shouldn't be like this. It should have gone up again. Danzo, say something. Danzo Shimura had a dull look on his face, and Sarutobi Hiruzen pushed him again. He was really panicking now. The two of them had taken over a lot of tulip contracts at a high price before, which was almost the peak price. Now the price has dropped to the price of 2 weeks ago. It was a huge loss. All previous gains have been reduced to zero. He also lost 500 million taels. Now the price of tulips is still falling slowly and fluctuatingly. Every rise after the decline is just a trap set by Uchiha Makoto behind the scenes to reap the benefits repeatedly. Each time, he gives them a little hope, raises the price, and then reaps the benefits again. Today's low point is tomorrow's high point. According to the plan, this cycle may last for a month or even 2 months, and the harvest will be repeated. Giving them a little hope each time, a lot of leeks can be harvested. Danzo Shimura is the victim. Every time he sees hope, he can't help but fantasize. He stopped himself from wanting to get off the bus 2 days ago. At first he was not in a hurry, but Hiruzen Sarutobi was very panicked because the loss was real. If the price cannot be raised again, as Danzo Shimura said, to make up for the loss, they will be finished sooner or later. Stop fighting. Hiruzen, now that things have turned out like this, what can I do? Are we going to sell all the contracts we have and then go back to see Master Tobirama with a loss of 500 million ryo? Danzo Shimura is now in a very bad temper. Sarutobi Hiruzen is like a fly, buzzing in his ear and making him upset. He is already very panicked, and now Sarutobi Hiruzen is still putting pressure on him. It's true that when you make money, you smile happily, but when you lose money, you say come on, MMP. If I had known earlier, I would not have gotten involved in the tulip business. Danzo Shimura felt extremely regretful and filled with deep fear. He was really scared and had no idea how this matter would end. The high spirits they felt when they made money before seemed like a dream. Now that they were awake, a horrible nightmare was waiting for them. This loss of 500 million taels was enough to buy dozens of their lives. Sarutobi Hiruzen, so what do we do now? Do not know. Danzo Shimura shook his head and now wanted to die. How does he know what to do? Anything other than hoping for a miracle is in vain. But miracles will not happen. Just when Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were as anxious as ants on a hot pan, their father came. Not long ago. When Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were making money and feeling high-spirited, they wrote a letter to tell Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shurshin that everything was going well for them in the Land of Fire and that they had prepared a big surprise for them. Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shurshin just thought that everything went smoothly for the two of them in the Land of Fire, and did not think much about it. Now the family relocation is almost done, but Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo still haven't given them any news. After the purchase of supplies is completed, the village needs to send someone to receive them. There is no way that Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shurshin can come and check the situation in person. Faced with his father Hiruzen Sarutobi's sudden arrival in the Land of Fire, Danzo Shimura was at a loss, unable to produce any supplies or funds. He was then subjected to a barrage of interrogations. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were able to tell everything that had happened in the past few days. Is this the surprise you mentioned? Translate, what is surprise? Fuck, translate what surprise means. Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shima were both going crazy. They really didn't expect that their son, whom they had always been proud of and had high hopes for, would suddenly give them such a big task. That's 500 million taels, even for a family as big as theirs. It would take a lot of time to save up this money, and some tasks in the middle might even cost the lives of family members. These two prodigal sons just squandered all the money, turning it into a pile of blank paper contracts that no one wanted. Even those tulips were just some pretty flowers in the eyes of Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shima. As it should be. In a rage, Sasuke Sarutobi and Shimura Shurshin beat Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo over and over again, and then quickly cleared all the tulip contracts under Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo's names. In the end, only more than 200 million taels of funds and a small amount of supplies were left. Go back. If Lord Tobirama wants to beat or kill you, it's up to him. After Sasuke Sarutobi and Shima Shimura vented their anger, they still had to clean up the mess for their two unlucky sons. As fathers, they certainly couldn't bring themselves to kill Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. Even a tiger won't eat its own cubs. They definitely can't run away. The Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan have all moved to Konoha, so they can only be handed over to Senju Tobirama to deal with. I hope Senju Tobirama can show mercy and spare Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo's lives. That's it. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo returned to Konoha trembling with fear and saw Senju Tobirama, who was still processing documents in the office. Senju Tobirama is in a good mood now. Konoha village can now be described as a place full of vitality and flourishing everything. Hyuga clan, Pig, Deer and Butterfly clan. There were also a number of other ninja clans, both big and small, who came to Konoha and wanted to join it. Each of these ninja clans will become his potential supporter. He is the shadow boss. In this way, he can take control of the village little by little in the future and encircle the Uchiha clan. The future is promising. Senju Tobirama thought so, and then he saw Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. The village is now waiting for the emergency supplies purchased by the Fire Nation. Unfortunately, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo suddenly dealt him a heavy blow. Senju Tobirama, who was looking forward to the future, learned that his 500 million ryo was missing and the experimental equipment he wanted to buy was also lost. He yelled at the two of them in the office. Idiot. Two idiots who can enter a museum. I asked you to go to the Fire Nation to buy supplies, not to use the money to mess around. The time spent writing about Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo was just to help them achieve the status of the museum twins. End of this chapter. Chapter 42. Uchiha Makoto, the scapegoat, has jumped out himself. Tobirama, listen to me, thank you. Chapter 42 Uchiha Makoto, the scapegoat jumped out himself. Senju Tobirama, listen to me and say thank you. Senju Tobirama was cursing at Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo in the office, while the two of them stood like minions, trembling as they listened to Senju Tobirama's scolding. Even their father Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shushin were trembling with fear. After a while, Senju Tobirama stopped yelling and scolding, and sat down exhausted on the chair, thinking about his next strategy. That's 500 million taels, for Konoha. It is a very large sum of money, not to mention that now, more and more ninjas are joining Konoha, and money needs to be spent everywhere, and it will be even more in the future. According to Senju Tobirama's idea, he wanted to form a secret team in Konoha village, which would nominally obey Senju Hashirama, but in reality would obey himself. In addition, there would be a ninja school, Konoha hospital, etc. To achieve all this, money is needed, and there has been no reply from the daimyo yet. If this continues, Konoha's cash flow will be cut off, and the supplies originally used to recruit the ninja clan and maintain the normal operation of the village will be gone. The more Senju Tobirama thought about it, the angrier he became. He looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo with cold eyes, and for a moment he even wanted to kill them both. Lord Tobirama, you can beat or kill my useless son as you please. The trouble they caused this time is too great, and they need to bear the responsibility themselves. Sarutobi Sasuke and Shimura Shima noticed the murderous gaze of Senju Tobirama, and then spoke. Just like as a father, there was no way to cover up for him at this time. However, Senju Tobirama still remained rational, snorted coldly and said nothing. If he could get back 500 million ryo by killing Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, he would definitely do it without hesitation. But, obviously, this is not going to happen. That's 500 million taels, neither of their lives is worth 500 million taels. There is absolutely no point in killing these two idiots now. The most important thing is to think about how to clean up their mess. I think I've heard of the name Tulip. You two bastards, tell me everything from beginning to end, without leaving out any details. Senju Tobirama said this to Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. In a sense, it was not easy for the two of them to lose so much money in a short period of time. He instinctively felt that something was wrong. Was someone deliberately messing with him? Then the Uchiha clan automatically appeared in my mind, and this wave of enemies was locked in the void. Well, of course. What Senju Tobirama thought was indeed correct, the mastermind behind the scenes was indeed the Uchiha clan. Yes, Tobirama-sama. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo nodded and told everything they knew, from how Shimura Danzo made a lot of money when he first invested in the tulip market, to how Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't stand the loneliness in his heart and also started to enter the tulip market. They both made a lot of money at the beginning, but were completely swallowed up by greed and desire and finally couldn't stop until they lost 500 million ryo. Lord Tobirama, we did make a lot of money at first and planned to donate it all to the village in exchange for your approval, but we didn't expect things to turn out like this. Danzo Shimura couldn't help but argue for himself. He really intended to give money to Tobirama Senju in exchange for his approval. Sarutobi Hiruzen also nodded. He wished he could stop when he was making money and return to Konoha with a lot of money. How great that would be. That's enough. Isn't that embarrassing enough? Tobirama Senju still wore a cold, sour expression. He had no interest in hearing those empty promises. His mind was preoccupied with what Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura had just said. The Uchiha clan was not among them. This made him extremely happy but also disappointed. He himself felt puzzled by this feeling of loss. It was a feeling of unfulfilled expectations. Strange, however, Senju Tobirama quickly suppressed this feeling and began to think about countermeasures. According to Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, tulips are a kind of precious flowers loved by daimyo and nobles, and a series of hype evolved later. Although Senju Tobirama had no contact with business and had not yet figured out the principles of this new business model of contract transactions, he immediately found the key: tulips. The price of tulips has risen from low to high. Even if the price has collapsed now and continues to fall, the market demand is still there. As long as you have enough tulips in your hands, you will have the opportunity to make back all your losses. Then Senju Tobirama asked Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo about how to grow tulips. Master Tobirama, tulips are extremely difficult to grow, and the cultivation process is very long. It takes 7 years for the seeds to grow into rhizomes, and then another 8 months for them to bloom. Otherwise, contract transactions wouldn't exist. If Lord Tobirama wants to plant tulips and recover his losses, I'm afraid that's impossible. Facing Senju Tobirama's question, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo immediately understood his idea. Even though the price of tulips has collapsed and has been in a continuous slow decline, they are still a luxury for the nobility and a precious flower. Senju Tobirama wanted to recover his losses by planting a large number of tulips, but the difficulty in planting cycle of tulips made this idea difficult to achieve. What do you two idiots know? Senju Tobirama sneered, cursed Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, and then left the office in a hurry. He is now going to find his elder brother, Hashirama Senju. Big brother, stop hanging out with Uchiha Madara all day. The village is in trouble now, and it's time for you, the leader, to take action. Yes. Senju Tobirama thought of wood release. Wood release is a bloodline limit unique to Hashirama Senju, which has the ability to make trees grow quickly, and even create a sea of trees in a very short time. Although tulips are flowers, Hashirama Senju's wood release should also be able to work on tulips. Even if there are any technical difficulties in the middle, Tobirama Senju feels that he can handle it. Brother, quickly use wood release Kauya on these tulip seeds. This concerns the future of the village. Senju Hashirama was dragged over by Senju Tobirama with a confused look on his face. He originally wanted to say something, but when he heard that this was related to the future of the village, he immediately used wood release with the tulip seeds in front of him. Finally, a miracle happened. Fuck. Unlimited supply of tulips. Is Konoha so brave? Now he wants money over life. At this time, he chooses to destroy the tulip market. So, do you guys in Konoha still want to take on ninja missions in the future? Don't you know that the resentment of most of the nobles and wealthy merchants in the ninja world is about to explode? You rush out and become targets at this time. Okay. The scapegoat appears. Uchiha Makoto looked at the information in his hand. He was originally worried about how to clean up the mess in front of him. Although the power of the nobles was not enough to shake the situation in the entire ninja world, the damage they could cause should not be underestimated. Very good, none of this has anything to do with me now. Continue to ask for collection, pursuit, and monthly tickets. Don't support me. End of this chapter. Chapter 43 Hashirama the Tei Daimyo, IN 039M here. Chapter 43 Senju Hashirama, Daimyo, in here, the weather is getting hotter and hotter. Uchiha Makoto's heart was as restless as the sun in the sky. He and the daimyo were currently reviewing the profits from the tulip project. Dozens of accountants stood in front of the two of them and kept calculating. It took them half a day to get the final number. How many? About 900 billion taels. Total. No, your highness, this is your share of the profits. Uchiha Makoto was listening at the side, and he jumped off his chair all of a sudden, with a smile on his face, and he even couldn't help humming. This time he really made a fucking profit. Damn, about 90 billion taels, this has far exceeded Uchiha Makoto's initial expectations. After all, there is more than one manipulator behind the scenes this time. As the plan progresses, more and more people get involved, and too many nobles from all over the ninja world get involved. It is definitely impossible to fully control such a big plate with just the daimyo of the Land of Fire and Uchiha Makoto. There are good and bad people among these people. Do you really think there are no heroes in the world? Therefore, the daimyo of the Fire Nation is also constantly trying to win over the nobles who are close to him to join in the operation. There are also many nobles outside the plan, who are distributed throughout the ninja world. They are all the driving forces behind the Tulip Project, and are basically the nobles at the top of the pyramid. Some of them are familiar with each other, and some are completely strangers to each other, but they are very tacit and spontaneously promote the implementation of the plan. The closer you are to the top of the pyramid, the more you understand that this opportunity is rare. It is a purposeful and organized harvest of all the nobles, big, medium and small, in the entire ninja world. The bigger the plate, the more people will eat meat. This is a very simple reason. Uchiha Makoto is still very easy to satisfy. The initial capital that the daimyo gave to Akatsuki village was only 1 billion taels. Now he has directly upgraded his weapons to a larger one. He really became rich overnight. With this large sum of money, many plans that are still in his imagination can be started. The recruitment of ninjas can now proceed smoothly. Even though Akatsuki village's speed in absorbing ninjas is indeed much slower than Konoha, Hashirama Senju's title of the god of the ninja world is well deserved, unlike the title that Sarutobi Hiruzen made up, the strongest Hokage, not to mention Konoha and Uchiha Madara. A person's reputation is like the shadow of a tree. This is an advantage that no amount of wealth can match. It can be said that the two of them are the golden signboard of Konoha, and they can absorb powerful ninja clans from the Land of Fire and surrounding countries and regions very quickly. According to the information obtained by the daimyo, the Hyuga clan, the Inoshikacho clan, and other major and minor ninja clans have already reached an agreement with Konoha to join. Basically, all the major ninja clans that frequently appear in the Konoha plot have joined Konoha, and the family relocation has also begun. But the ninja world is so big, except Konoha. But there are still 4 other ninja villages that are being formed, not to mention those small ninja villages. He can easily poach their people. Even though Uchiha Makoto has already joined Konoha, he also plans to try to pry his people. Now even if he just uses money to throw it, he can still create a powerful Akatsuki ninja village. The Fire Country daimyo standing by could not hide his excitement. He excitedly ran to Uchiha Makoto and clapped his hands in celebration. 900 billion taels was a huge fortune even for the Fire Country daimyo. What made Uchiha Makoto feel most comfortable was that in the end, he himself was the one who took the blame for the harvesting operation he had planned. Now the news has been circulating in the ninja world that Konoha has the ability to supply tulips to the ninja world without limit. No one knows whether it was released by Konoha fans themselves, or someone wanted to mess with them and deliberately spread false news. But Uchiha Makoto thinks that this news should be true, because Senjo Hashirama possesses would release, and with his ability, he can completely produce tulips in large quantities and supply them to the entire ninja world. But, if you don't come when it's time to eat meat, there will only be a little broth left. Muye came over and drank the soup in the pot in one gulp. What do you think those nobles who are about to explode with resentment will think? The situation this time is really not optimistic. Tobirama Senju sat on the chair in the office with a melancholy look on his face. In the past few days, Konoha received news of a large number of mission cancellations. For ninjas, accepting missions and completing them was almost their only way to make money. This is a major event that will shake Muramoto. With his keen sense of smell, Tobirama Senju immediately discovered the reason behind the mission's cancellation. Damn it, it was all because of the tulips. Those despicable profiteers will do anything to make money. Now Konoha has taken all the blame. Senjo Tobirama said this through gritted teeth. In order to recover the loss of 500 million ryo, he asked Hashirama Senju to catalyze a large batch of tulips, and then sell these tulips in major tulip trading markets in the Land of Fire. Taking into account the need for publicity and the current pessimistic market conditions for tulips, these stocks must be sold as soon as possible. So the merchants released the news that they could supply a large number of tulips in stock, and a large number of tulips did appear in the market. Later, as the word spread, it inexplicably became an unlimited supply of tulips. Perhaps the group of leaks who played contract trading wanted to short sell, or someone deliberately spread false news. The original source of the news is no longer traceable. Anyway, the news just spread like this. Something even more terrifying happened. In order to confirm the authenticity of the news, merchants in the tulip trading market specially placed a large number of tulip supply orders to Konoha. Senjo Tobirama was so excited that he did not sleep all night. He thought he was going to make a fortune, and happily agreed that Konoha could really supply tulips without limit. Eventually, a series of chain reactions occurred. At this time, the price of tulips actually came from faith. Once the faith collapsed, the price of tulips began to plummet, and it was unstoppable. Everything happened so fast and unexpectedly that people couldn't react at all. Those nobles who were exploited pointed their fingers at Konoha. There were even rumors that Konoha was manipulating the price of tulips behind the scenes, and that it was trying to take advantage of the situation again. All kinds of rumors appeared. A handful of yellow mud fell on my crotch. It was shit if not shit. Considering Konoha's military strength, those nobles really had no way to take any coercive measures against Konoha, but they had as many means as they wanted to boycott Konoha and make it very uncomfortable. The large-scale cancellation of Konoha's missions is just an appetizer. Even with this, Senjo Tobirama can hardly bear it. This was a disaster that occurred during the time when Hashirama Senju was in charge. It would be disastrous if the Uchiha clan got hold of it. Tobirama, what should we do now? Hashirama Senju rarely appeared in the office. Even he realized the urgency of the situation. Konoha now has so many ninja clans. If the ninja clans cannot accept tasks, they will really choose to withdraw from Konoha. Even the title of the god of the ninja world, Hashirama Senju, cannot solve such a problem. The ninja clan needs to eat. Go and ask to see the daimyo. Senjo Tobirama looked melancholy. Now he has blocked the news in Konoha, but it can't last long. The best way now is to directly ask the daimyo of the Land of Fire to support Konoha village. End of this chapter. Chapter 44 Tobirama Te, for whom does this smiling face shine? Chapter 44 Tobirama Senju, for whom does this smiling face shine? Please add to your favorites, follow the story, and vote with monthly tickets. The Yuki clan, the Kagaya clan, the Karama clan. Oh, I almost forgot, there's also the Uzumaki clan. Forget it, let's write down the Hyuga clan too. It would be a waste if we don't dig into this corner ourselves. Uchiha Makoto sat in the room, writing down on paper the ninja clans that Akatsuki village needed to win over in the next period of time. In order to enhance the strength of the ninja village as quickly as possible, he immediately set his sights on the ninja clans that possessed bloodline limits. Money can't solve all problems, but it can solve most of the problems. In the past, the big ninja clans looked down on the weak Akatsuki village. They were more willing to settle in powerful ninja villages such as Konoha. After all, the ninja world is still extremely social. But with the injection of a huge amount of 90 billion taels of funds, the little-known Akatsuki village also has the confidence to recruit powerful ninja clans. At worst, you can just throw money at it. There will always be one or two great ninja clans willing to join the Akatsuki village. However, one still needs to know when to act, as it is easy for others to notice you if you act like a nouveau riche. These stupid ninjas don't have the courage to rob the noble's property, but they are very brave enough to risk their lives to rob another ninja village. The First Shinobi World War, the Second Shinobi World War. In several shinobi world wars, the ninja villages fought each other to the point of bloodshed, killing each other, and even owed a lot of debts, while the nobles were high above, hiding behind the scenes. Even if they lost the war, in most cases they didn't even have to cede land. How much money does daimyo have? Let you ninjas fight so hard, in any case, Uchiha Makoto is determined not to do such a stupid thing, and this situation must be changed in the future. You have to earn money yourself. Master Cheng, His Highness wants you to come over and discuss something important with you. Just as Uchiha Makoto was planning the future development of Akatsuki village, a samurai beside the daimyo of the Land of Fire pushed the door open and walked in. Understood. Uchiha Makoto put down the pen in his hand and followed the servant to the room of the daimyo of the Land of Fire. After some communication, he learned a piece of news. Someone is coming from Konoha. Not only Hashirama Senju came, but Tobirama Senju also came. Cheng, I'll leave these two to you to deal with. Konoha is in big trouble now. We must not let them get desperate and come and fight me. Uchiha Makoto smiled, his eyes already looking at the face of the Fire Country daimyo. Although the dark circles around his eyes were covered up by him, his whole mental state was listless, as if he had not slept well at all. I'm afraid that the daimyo of the Fire Country knew the news of Konoha's visit, and was so scared that he couldn't sleep all night. I don't know what the daimyo of the Fire Country, who had already taken the threat theory of Hashirama Senju to heart, thought about all night. Due to the limitations of the times and the constraints of traditional rules on ninjas, even someone as strong as Senju Hashirama did not have the idea of replacing the daimyo. All he wanted to do was to establish a ninja village and reduce fighting among the ninja clan. This situation continued until the end of the Fourth Shinobi World War without any qualitative change. Even after the Fourth World War ended and Uzumaki Naruto became the seventh Hokage, the technology in the ninja world developed rapidly, and the 5 major countries also became industrial countries. The ninjas in the ninja village were no longer confined to the way of survival of getting paid for missions. But the ninja village is still essentially following the rules and is still in a low position politically. In short, this world is very abstract. Uchiha Makoto is very clear about this. Now the 2 big ninja masters, Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju, have come to the Land of Fire together probably because Konoha has stirred up a hornet's nest and aroused public anger. The nobles have joined forces to disgust Konoha, so much so that Konoha can no longer bear it. Now Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju have come to ask for help from the daimyo of the Land of Fire. I'm afraid that even if the daimyo of the Fire Country took advantage of the situation and put forward some extremely harsh conditions to restrict Konoha's development, Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju would have to agree in order to obtain political and economic help from the daimyo of the Fire Country. So naturally, Uchiha Makoto took on this task. Of course, this comes with a prerequisite: you need full authorization from the daimyo of the Land of Fire. No problem. You can negotiate with Konoha on my behalf now. Cheng, as long as you can appease Konoha, I will accept it even if you give me some money. The Fire Nation daimyo nodded. He also didn't expect that Konoha would jump out at this time to attract firepower. If that thick-faced and black-hearted Senju Hashirama came to demand an explanation, letting Uchiha Makoto take over now would at least give him a chance to ease the situation. Uchiha Makoto is also a loyal man. At this critical moment, he was able to stand up and help you solve your problems. Loyalty. In that case, Your Highness, leave this matter to me. Uchiha Makoto said with a smile. Loyalty, in the name of the Fire Nation daimyo, do whatever you want. This is the power of information asymmetry. The daimyo of the Land of Fire thought that Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju were here to demand an explanation, but they actually intended to negotiate on their knees. It's better to kneel down. Anyway, I'm standing now. Brother, when you meet the daimyo of the Land of Fire later, you must follow my instructions. The situation in Konoha is very dangerous right now. Once the news of the large-scale cancellation of missions spreads and public opinion ferments, the ninja clans that have already joined Konoha may withdraw from Konoha. Also, I'm afraid the Uchiha clan will also have dangerous thoughts at this time. That would be dangerous. As Senju Tobirama said this, his face was filled with worry. He was really worried that all his hard work over this period of time would be in vain. He had originally planned to stay in Konoha village to look after the family and comfort the people, but considering that in such a critical time, he couldn't bear to let your elder brother Senju Hashirama come to the Land of Fire alone to pay homage to the daimyo. There is no one in Konoha village who can accompany the eldest brother now. We can't ask Uchiha Madara to accompany him, right? Senju Tobirama chose death directly. Who else can you choose but Uchiha Madara Kaguya? Being with his older brother only makes everything worse. So, in desperation, he had to temporarily give up the idea of staying in Konoha and accompany his elder brother Hashirama Senju to pay a visit to the daimyo of the Land of Fire. This negotiation must be concluded quickly. Even if Konoha has to pay a huge price, it must get the help of the daimyo. Tobirama, got it. You've said this several times. And there's no need for you to practice your smile so many times in front of the mirror alone. Senju Hashirama nodded, still with an optimistic look on his face, which made Senju Tobirama speechless. His elder brother really made him worry about him. The reason you practice smiling is so that you can smile too. Who do you think I was doing this for? It's all because of you, big brother, for the Senju clan, and the current Konoha village. Soon, the 2 people waiting in the lounge were taken to a room by the servants. Then when Senju Tobirama saw the person in front of him, the smile on his face froze instantly. I still like writing about the contents of the door room. I want to read and collect it. If I continue like this, I feel like I'm going to die. End of this chapter. Chapter 45 Uchiha Makoto, Tobirama, why aren't and 039 tu smiling? Is it because you and 039 re unhappy? Chapter 45 Uchiha Makoto, Senju Tobirama, why don't you smile? Is it because you are unhappy? As soon as Senju Tobirama entered the room, he saw a handsome young man with flowing black hair. Based on his many years of experience dealing with the Uchiha clan, this person was most likely a member of the Uchiha clan. So he stopped laughing. What the hell, how could the naturally evil Uchiha brat be in this place? Hello you all. Uchiha Makoto sat on the sofa and did not get up. He waved and greeted Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju in front of him. Senju Hashirama responded enthusiastically, while Senju Tobirama had a Sema face. After some self-introduction, Uchiha Makoto revealed his identity. Uchiha Makoto, how come you, a born evil Uchiha brat, are here? After completely confirming Uchiha Makoto's identity, Senju Tobirama no longer pretended and immediately shouted at Uchiha Makoto. If he hadn't been concerned that this was the territory of the daimyo of the Land of Fire, he would probably have directly attacked Uchiha Makoto with the Flying Thunder God Slash. But, at this moment, Uchiha Makoto did not feel panicked at all. Instead, he sat leisurely on the sofa drinking tea, looking at Senju Tobirama in front of him with a sarcastic smile on his face. The born evil old ghost with 1,000 hands. If I followed the Uchiha clan to join Konoha, I would have to bow my head in front of you, but now I am the village chief of Akatsuki village and a popular figure in front of the daimyo. How could I be overwhelmed by your aura? So, Uchiha Makoto took a deep breath and shouted to Senju Tobirama, this is the reception room of the Fire Country daimyo, and I am now a senior official in charge of negotiations with your Konoha. Senju Tobirama, how dare you yell in front of me? You are so lawless. Senju Tobirama's eyes darkened, and he doubted whether he had heard Uchiha Makoto's words correctly. Uchiha Makoto then transformed into a senior official of the Land of Fire, and an official specifically in charge of this negotiation. Cool. When Uchiha Makoto saw that Senju Tobirama's face turned pale but he couldn't say a word, he immediately felt secretly happy. Pointing at Senju Tobirama's nose and scolding him, this feeling was so good. Okay, Uchiha Makoto, my brother is just like that. Don't take it personally. For this negotiation, Tobirama practiced smiling in the room for a long time. Just when the atmosphere became tense, Hashirama Senju stepped forward in time to smooth things over, causing Uchiha Makoto to smile, while Tobirama Senju's expression became even uglier. Brother, is it really possible to say something like, I'm practicing a smile in front of the mirror, in public? Don't I want to lose face? The bastard in front of me is still an inherently evil Uchiha brat. Senju Tobirama roared in his heart. He now felt that his eldest brother was actually a mentally retarded person, but he happened to be able to take care of himself and was relatively strong, so he pretended to be a normal person. The smile on Uchiha Makoto's face became even brighter. It's good to practice smiling, this smile needs practice. With Hashirama Senju acting as a lubricant, the negotiations finally continued. Why are you here? Where's the daimyo going? However, Senju Tobirama had no intention of talking about business at all, and asked Uchiha Makoto a series of questions. To this Uchiha Makoto was quite frank, there was no need to hide anything. Sooner or later, Tobirama Senju would find out his identity and the Akatsuki village he had founded. I'm not interested in the Konoha you founded, so I left the Uchiha clan to start my own business and established a ninja village on my own. If the Uchiha clan members are unhappy living in Konoha, I welcome them to join my village. As for why I am here, of course the daimyo thinks highly of me and is impressed by my talent and status. Uchiha Makoto said this and gave a brief explanation to Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju. Hashirama Senju still looked heartless and felt that it was too hard for Uchiha Makoto to work hard alone. If he couldn't hold on, he could join Konoha and return to the Uchiha clan. The door of Konoha will always be open to him. Thank you for your kindness, Master Hashirama. We can still get by for now. If there is an opportunity in the future, Master Hashirama is very welcome to visit Akatsuki village. In the face of Senju Hashirama's kindness, Uchiha Makoto politely declined and even used a respectful title in his words. Hashirama Senju is a purely good person. I have been spreading rumors about him in front of the daimyo of the Land of Fire. I feel a little sorry for him, but there is no way. The world is difficult. Although I have cut leaks, caused many people to lose their fortunes, and made Konoha take the blame, I am actually a good person. And Senju Tobirama on the side was looking at Uchiha Makoto with a fierce look in his eyes. He felt that Uchiha Makoto was very dangerous. That Akatsuki village will probably be a huge threat to Konoha in the future. Snort, the evil Uchiha clan, unexpectedly, had a hidden plan behind the Senju clan before establishing Konoha. They are truly despicable. Let's stop chatting here. I wonder what brings you two here to pay respects to the daimyo of the Land of Fire. Uchiha Makoto said this, asking a question even though he knew the answer. Senju Hashirama remained silent. Just before entering, Senju Tobirama repeatedly emphasized to Senju Hashirama that when the negotiations began, Senju Hashirama should keep his mouth shut throughout the whole process, and all the negotiation content should be left to Senju Tobirama, and Senju Hashirama only needed to follow his instructions and act accordingly. Senju Tobirama was in a dilemma. He and his elder brother came to the Land of Fire to seek help from the daimyo of the Land of Fire. One should ask for help in the right way, otherwise he would not be practicing smiling in front of the mirror alone. But now Uchiha Makoto has completely taken over this negotiation and can issue orders on behalf of the daimyo. This born evil Uchiha brat. Now this attitude clearly shows that he wants to make things difficult for me. What the hell, I can't just bow down to the evil Uchiha brat. The atmosphere was silent for a few seconds. Senju Hashirama felt something was wrong and signaled to Senju Tobirama to say something quickly. In his opinion, meeting members of the Uchiha clan during the negotiations was a great thing. Anyway, Konoha was founded by the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Makoto can't just ignore his own family. It's easier to do things with acquaintances. Damn it, I can't stand it. Senju Tobirama felt the gaze of his elder brother. For the future of the village, he had no choice but to lower his head temporarily. Things change over time. Sooner or later, he would get back the face he lost today. This time Senju Tobirama, why are you looking at me with such a sullen face when you talk to me? Weren't you practicing smiling in front of the mirror in the room just now? Is there something that makes you unhappy now? You don't have any opinion about me, do you? Smile. Uchiha Makoto suddenly interrupted and teased Senju Tobirama maliciously. End of this chapter. Chapter 46. Tobirama Te, you born evil Uchiha brat, I and 039 LL kill you. Chapter 46. Senju Tobirama, you born evil Uchiha brat, I will kill you, the fist is hard. This is really too much, the born evil Uchiha brat. Senju Tobirama clenched his fists. He really wanted to punch Uchiha Makoto in the face, but for the future of Konoha, he forced himself to suppress the anger in his heart and forced a smile on the corners of his mouth. This time, we at Konoha hope to reach a cooperation with the daimyo of the Land of Fire. We hope that the Land of Fire can provide economic and political assistance to Konoha. Regarding the dispatch of missions within the Land of Fire, we at Konoha hope to build a platform to uniformly dispatch and grade missions. Senju Tobirama said a lot of things in one breath. It can be seen that he was well prepared this time, and he had roughly determined the direction of the future planning of the wood industry. The most ruthless move, which could be called a family-destroying technique, was that all missions within the Land of Fire were standardized, with Konoha responsible for mission assessment and assignment. Considering the single nature of ninja income in this era, where almost all income came from missions, this was enough to cut off the means of survival for all ninja clans, large and small, within the Land of Fire. Even if Konoha is willing to share part of the platform's tasks with those ninja clans that have not joined Konoha, what awaits them are those tasks that are difficult, have low rewards, and are accompanied by certain risks, while those tasks that have high rewards and low difficulty will definitely be divided up collectively within Konoha. Konoha will have to take this kind of advantage to grow. If this continues, those ninja clans that have not joined Konoha will simply not be able to withstand such exploitation. However, Konoha is a big family with a big business, and they cannot compete with it. So they either have to choose to leave the Land of Fire or join Konoha. This is essentially a monopoly. However, the benefits are also extremely obvious. In the past, the big and small ninja clans in the Land of Fire would fight each other for the source of missions. Now that everyone has joined Konoha, the tasks are managed uniformly and distributed reasonably, which can avoid many bloody incidents. For the Hokage, this also directly grasps the lifeline of the ninja clan within the village. After all, the assignment of tasks involves the economic source of a ninja clan. A man without money is like a cartilaginous worm with its spine removed. The same principle applies to a family. However, the assessment of tasks and how to distribute them reasonably are very subjective, and the village boss has the greatest say. Good means. Uchiha Makoto couldn't help but admire in his heart. Once these matters were passed, only Konoha Ninja Village would survive in the Land of Fire. No wonder the Uchiha clan was unwilling to go with Uchiha Madara. Even if they went out, Konoha had already controlled the source of the task channels. The order of the Warring States period had been broken, and replaced by a new economic model. The Uchiha clan could not receive any decent tasks in the Land of Fire as a family. In the end, they had to go to the platform created by Konoha to accept tasks. Otherwise, they can only leave the Land of Fire and go to the other 4 countries to continue to survive, but the other 4 countries have already established their own ninja villages, and the Uchiha clan is an outsider. In Konoha, the founders receive different treatment for accepting missions. That's not even a fart. Well, Senju Tobirama, your idea is very good and has great benefits. Once it is successfully implemented, the ninja clans in the Land of Fire should be completely settled down and will no longer fight each other like before. Uchiha Makoto nodded and only mentioned the advantages, while he took the initiative to omit some of the disadvantages. Hashirama Senju on the side was grinning from ear to ear. He also felt that his brother's idea was very good. Once implemented, there would be no more ninja wars in the Land of Fire, and children would not have to go to the battlefield at such a young age. Humph, it's good to know. Senjo Tobirama couldn't help but curl up the corners of his mouth. He was also proud of his extremely ingenious plan. He was so smart. This method can not only expand Konoha's influence and allow more ninjas to join Konoha, but also ensure its control over the ninjas and achieve peace within the Land of Fire. It can be said that it kills several birds with one stone. But for Konoha now, it's very unrealistic. From what I know, Konoha has received a large number of mission cancellations. This is not just from the Fire Nation, but also from the nobles of surrounding countries. Humph, expecting them to cooperate with Konoha in implementing this plan is unrealistic. Quests are matters of mutual consent. Now the employers are unwilling to hand over the mission to Konoha. Could it be that Lord Hashirama is trying to force a deal? Looking at the smiling Senjo Tobirama, Uchiha Makoto sneered and poured a basin of cold water on Senjo Hashirama. Senjo Tobirama said, "Your reputation of Konoha is ruined now. There are rumors that Konoha is the mastermind behind the tulip harvest. If it weren't for Konoha's formidable strength, the nobles would have already wiped out Konoha. This forced sale is unacceptable." Senjo Hashirama stuttered a few words and became dejected. As a typical good man, he certainly would not do anything to force people to buy or sell. So this time they came to the Land of Fire to ask to see the daimyo, hoping that the daimyo of the Land of Fire would come forward and use the influence of the daimyo of the Land of Fire to implement the plan proposed by Senjo Tobirama. Senjo Tobirama remained silent. Even he found the current situation very tricky. Damn it. People sit at home, and the pot comes from the sky. Who did Konoha offend? I just want to recover my losses. Actually, I have a good idea. We can build a platform to centrally distribute and assess mission levels. This kind of thing can be completely handed over to our Akatsuki village. After all, the final effect will be the same. Konoha's ninjas can come to Akatsuki village to accept missions. Of course, in order to ensure the interests of all parties, you Konoha can send some people to participate. That way, we can have the best of both worlds. What do you think? Uchiha Makoto said this and proposed a good for you, good for me, and good for everyone solution. Since Konoha is now in a bad reputation, this major event in the history of ninjas should be left to the Akatsuki village. In this regard, Hashirama Senju thought that Uchiha Makoto's method was good, but he felt something was wrong, so he looked at Tobirama Senju. During the negotiation process, if I don't express my opinion, big brother, you must not say anything. Hashirama Senju still remembered the instructions of Tobirama Senju. Now Senju Tobirama's entire face was black. Fuck, the born evil Uchiha brat. Believe it or not, I will kill you with flying thunder god slash right now. How dare you ask? Your idea is completely rubbish. You, Uchiha Makoto, are about to dig out the foundation of Konoha, and you still have the nerve to talk here with a flattering face. Why don't you just say that Konoha should be merged into the Akatsuki village? This involves the foundation of Konoha, and Senju Tobirama will definitely not agree. Only the name and the position cannot be entrusted to others. Senju Tobirama still understood this principle. Please read, collect, and vote for me. Especially follow reading, collection I'm dying. There is no scheduled update these 2 days, and it will still be at 7:30 in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 47. The Akatsuki village is to dine at this feast in the ninja world. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Senju Tobirama almost subconsciously opened his mouth to refute loudly. He could not agree to the plan proposed by Uchiha Makoto. The thick-skinned and black-hearted Senju Tobirama knew very well what benefits Konoha would get if this plan was implemented. It would almost be possible to gather all the big and small ninja clans in the Land of Fire without bloodshed. Uchiha Makoto smiled but said nothing. Of course he knew that Senju Tobirama would never agree to such a plan, as it involved Konoha's core interests. But negotiation, after all, was all about asking for a high price and then paying a low price. This was just a prelude to other demands later. Such techniques are very common in negotiations. Then the three of them remained silent for a while. At this time, whoever spoke first would be at a disadvantage. In the end, Senju Tobirama made a compromise. The situation forced him to bow his head. Then let's do this. Konoha can work together with Akatsuki village to establish a task distribution platform. After that, Konoha and Akatsuki village will divide the tasks belonging to their respective villages in proportion. Be honest. Senju Tobirama made a huge concession. Before Senju Tobirama came to the Land of Fire, he didn't know that there was such a quack ninja village in the Land of Fire. In fact, Akatsuki village is indeed a quack ninja village so far, and there are not even a few senior ninjas in the whole village. Uchiha Makoto is actually abusing his power for personal gain. If he hadn't convinced the daimyo in advance, he wouldn't be able to forcibly elevate the Akatsuki village to the same status as Konoha and cooperate with Konoha. He would only be able to eat leftovers from Konoha. Uchiha Makoto nodded, agreeing to Senju Tobirama's plan. Considering the current situation of Akatsuki village, such a result was a win-win in terms of both face and money. Then how should the mission ratio be divided between our two ninja villages? It's better to clarify this matter now. It's tentatively decided to split 30% and 70%. Konoha gets 70% and Akatsuki gets 30%. Senju Tobirama paused for a moment, then told him the proportions of the task division. No. 55. Uchiha Makoto became more and more greedy and wanted to split the profits with Konoha 50-50. When he did business with the daimyo of the Land of Fire, it was also a 50-50 split. Impossible. This is already the highest ratio. It took all his strength for Senju Tobirama to control his temper. He would never agree to a 50-50 profit-sharing proposal. If it weren't for the face of the Fire Nation daimyo, in his opinion, the Akatsuki village wouldn't even be qualified to have a seat at the table for dinner. 46. At worst, we can just break up. Consider carefully the current situation of your Konoha village. I can represent the attitude of the Fire Country daimyo. You can leave now. Anyway, the Fire Country daimyo has decided to support the Akatsuki village. This matter can be done by a single ninja village like ours. Uchiha Makoto said this. Of course, this was just said in front of Senju Tobirama. This is a plan to wipe out the entire family. Just because Konoha is capable of doing something doesn't mean Akatsuki village can do it either. He is not the god of ninja. Those desperate ninjas don't dare to attack the nobles, but they really dare to attack Akatsuki village. And even if it's a 50-50 split, with the current number of ninjas in Akatsuki village, they simply couldn't handle so many missions. 3 levels was already considered a lot, considering the sheer volume of missions involved the entire Land of Fire, and even the surrounding countries combined. Akatsuki village simply didn't have many people left. What? Stop talking. Uchiha Makoto pretended to be indifferent. Applying extreme pressure was Kawabata's specialty. If Senju Tobirama really walked away we were just joking, so 37 is 37, no. Senju Tobirama said this almost with gritted teeth. A 30-70 split into Konoha was already a huge loss, and the most important thing was that he couldn't retreat again and again in front of Uchiha Makoto. TSK. Pretty stubborn. Uchiha Makoto felt a little regretful. It was too difficult to play tricks in front of Senju Tobirama and gain more advantages, so he changed his tone. In that case, I'll take a step back. Considering the current small size of Shaonin village, we can temporarily implement a 70% profit-sharing model. However, this is not set in stone. If Shaonin village grows in size in the future, the profit-sharing ratio will need to be redistributed. But in exchange for my concession, if Akatsuki village is attacked in the future, Konoha must unconditionally send troops to assist. This will be written into the agreement and witnessed by the daimyo of the Land of Fire. Uchiha Makoto also took a step back. Now the strength of Akatsuki village is still too weak. It will take a long time to convert money into actual combat power. Now Akatsuki village has become a wealthy man and must find a strong backer to protect it. Humph, you have self-awareness. Senju Tobirama snorted coldly. He didn't expect Uchiha Makoto to change his expression so quickly, but he also agreed to this matter. He was very confident in Konoha's current military strength. With his elder brother around, protecting an unknown small ninja village was not a problem. It was just that the Akatsuki ninja village was nominally on an equal footing with Konoha, which made him very unhappy. In this way, the two parties reached an agreement. Once the core issues are resolved, the remaining problems will be easier to solve. Uchiha Makoto, on behalf of the daimyo of the Land of Fire, politically recognizes the existence of Konoha, and will also issue a statement. Correspondingly, Konoha and Akatsuki village will recognize each other's legal status in the Land of Fire, and based on the principle of equality and mutual benefit, they will jointly establish a task distribution platform. In the Land of Fire, the system of one country, two villages is implemented. Konoha and Akatsuki village jointly guard David and maintain the ruling status of the daimyo of the Land of Fire in the Land of Fire. All of the above are almost the same as the original work, except for the addition of the Akatsuki village. Senju Tobirama was very well prepared. Uchiha Makoto looked at the proposal he brought, nodded and did not raise any objections. Senju Tobirama, how much financial aid does Konoha need? After discussing the political issues, the two began to discuss economic issues. Building a ninja village from scratch is too expensive. Uchiha Makoto has a deep understanding of this. Without the financial assistance of the daimyo, Konoha will have a very difficult life. Regarding financial assistance, I can represent the daimyo with full authority. Uchiha Makoto added. Damn it, could that naturally evil Uchiha brat in front of me be using illusions to control the daimyo? How come he has the final say on everything? I'll have to check on the daimyo after we're done negotiating and see him. Senju Tobirama thought so, and then Uchiha Makoto began to use the authority given by the daimyo to seek more benefits for his Akatsuki village. Senju Tobirama, if you can agree to work for me, then I can actually be more tolerant of Konoha's offer of financial assistance. Uchiha Makoto stared at Senju Tobirama and spoke slowly. End of this chapter. Chapter 48 Tobirama te Makoto Uchiha, when it comes to corruption, I would call you the strongest. Chapter 48 Tobirama Senju Makoto Uchiha, when it comes to corruption, I would call you the strongest. Working for you. How can this be? Senju Tobirama almost subconsciously refused. He was the nominal second-in-command of Konoha village, but the actual leader. How could he possibly work for a naturally evil Uchiha kid like you? Don't be so quick to refuse. I know your talent and ability in developing ninjutsu. For example, the Flying Thunder God technique killed Madara-sama's brother. You're even currently developing ninjutsu to counter the Uchiha clan. Putting that aside, I still admire your abilities. Uchiha Makoto said this. Senju Tobirama is actually an outstanding scientific research talent. The various forbidden techniques he invented have almost influenced the direction of the entire Naruto world. If we can use his intelligence and talents to improve the core competitiveness of Akatsuki village as much as possible, it will definitely be a huge profit. The first half of Uchiha Makoto's words had made Senju Tobirama smile triumphantly, especially the part where he single-handedly killed Uchiha Izuna, which was his highlight moment. But the second half was also true, but Senju Hashirama was still standing nearby. Upon hearing this, he glared at Senju Tobirama with a dangerous look. Tobirama, why are you still targeting Madara's people? This is really outrageous. Don't talk nonsense. I haven't developed any ninjutsu against the Uchiha clan yet. Senju Tobirama defended himself rather guiltily, but Uchiha Makoto looked unconvinced and continued. I can provide you with the most advanced laboratory in the entire ninja world, as well as a series of supporting measures. Of course, all the results produced by this laboratory must be handed over to the Akatsuki village and have the technology patented. Even you, Tobirama Senju, are not allowed to plagiarize or steal them. I will also pay you a fee of 200 million taels per month. Uchiha Makoto directly put forward his conditions, which can be said to be full of sincerity, and 200 million taels per month is already an absolutely high salary in this ninja world. Senju Tobirama doesn't need to take any risks at all. He can earn the rewards for 2 S-level tasks every month, and all the losses and costs during the experiment have to be paid by himself. That's something I'll think about. Senju Tobirama originally wanted to refuse directly, but the conditions offered by Uchiha Makoto really tempted him. 2 million ryo for the top laboratory in the ninja world. The Uchiha clan members didn't understand technical work such as scientific research. By using a few tricks, he should be able to get the resources of his laboratory for free. What chef doesn't steal ingredients? How can scientific research and technical personnel not get experimental resources for free? All expenses are paid by Uchiha Makoto. But he works for the Uchiha clan. If this matter gets out, it will be too embarrassing. Senju Tobirama chooses to save face. Senju Tobirama, you don't want Konoha to not get financial assistance from the Land of Fire and fall into financial hardship, do you? Uchiha Makoto saw the hesitation on Senju Tobirama's face and decided to use his special skills to give Senju Tobirama a boost in strength. Asshole. Do you really think you can cover up the sky of the Fire Nation single-handedly? Well, then you give it a try. The two of them were once again on the verge of a fight. Hashirama Senju couldn't stand it anymore, so he quickly stepped out and acted as a peacemaker again, trying to persuade them. It's just about letting his younger brother, Tobirama Senju, go to the laboratory to do his favorite scientific research. What's the big deal? Moreover, his younger brother does not have to pay for the experimental resources, and he doesn't have to find ways to embezzle the village funds. The most important thing is that Uchiha Makoto can pay Senju Tobirama 2 million every month, which is not a small amount of money. Hashirama Senju usually sticks his elbows outward. Brother, shut up. Don't you know how busy I am with work every day? And all you do is hang out with Madara Uchiha all day long. I'm the one doing all the work in the village, and you're still here siding with Makoto Uchiha. Tobirama Senju roared at Hashirama Senju. He admitted that Makoto Uchiha's offer was very generous, but putting aside his own pride, he simply didn't have time to do research anymore. The village's affairs alone were keeping him extremely busy. In fact, you can use the multiple shadow clone technique to create several clones every day, and use your Flying Thunder God technique to leave a seal in the laboratory. You can come to the laboratory every day to do scientific research. Isn't this the best of both worlds? Uchiha Makoto said quietly from the side. He had even figured out how Tobirama Senju would work. Senju Hashirama, yes, this is indeed a good idea. What a fart. Brother, have you forgotten the dangers of this forbidden technique? Frequent use can damage the body of the person performing it, and may even lead to sudden death. Senju Tobirama had a dark face. If Senju Hashirama wasn't his elder brother, I wouldn't be able to beat him by myself. Otherwise, he just knew how to be disloyal all day long. I can offer a very high price. As long as you agree to this, everything about Konoha village's funding will be easy to discuss. Uchiha Ching said this with a solemn oath. Anyway, the expenses of Konoha village are all paid by the daimyo of the Land of Fire. He is only responsible for negotiations. Moreover, the daimyo of the Land of Fire has plenty of money now and is terrified of Konoha, so he doesn't mind spending money to avoid disaster. Uchiha Makoto had no psychological burden at all in taking the money from the daimyo of the Land of Fire to do his own business. A very high price. Can your offer be higher than the sky? Uchiha Makoto, you might as well tell me. Senju Tobirama felt that the pace of today's negotiations was completely controlled by Uchiha Makoto. He suspected that the Fire Country daimyo was being controlled by Uchiha Makoto with illusions, but now was not the time to think about that. So he raised a few fingers and said in a loud voice, 8 billion ryo. Hashirama Senju on the side couldn't help but widen his eyes. At present, the working capital of Konoha village is not even 10 billion taels. This is when Konoha was burdened with the infamy of tulips and finally sold a wave of tulips to recover some of the losses. Otherwise, there would only be a few 100 million taels left. Konoha's financial situation is very tight now. When discussing with him in the office before, Senjo Tobirama said that 5 billion ryo would be a very high price, even a sky-high price. He didn't expect that his younger brother would add 3 billion ryo to the price in order to persuade Uchiha Makoto to withdraw. You know, the daimyo only gave Uchiha Makoto 1 billion ryo at the beginning. Too little. Uchiha Makoto shook his head. Is it too much? This is the lowest price. Wait a minute. Did you say it was too little? Senjo Tobirama couldn't help but widen his eyes. Slightly double it, 15 billion ryo. If it's Konoha, I can give you 10 billion ryo. Senjo Tobirama was stunned by her beauty for a moment. Uchiha Makoto, are you so ruthless? He embezzled 5 billion taels while chatting and laughing. End of this chapter. Chapter 49 Hashirama, enraged and utterly wicked. Tobirama, aiding and abetting evil. Chapter 49 The enraged Senjo Hashirama is extremely vicious. The accomplice of the evil, Senjo Tobirama, is helping the evildoer to commit atrocities. It's smaller, the layout is smaller. At this time, Senjo Tobirama felt that his vision was really too narrow. He originally thought that asking for 8 billion taels of funding was already a huge ask, but he didn't expect Uchiha Makoto to be even more exaggerated than him. 50 billion taels means greed. He didn't even blink when he was talking just now, as if the 5 billion taels of silver originally belonged to him. It was really terrifying. Senjo Tobirama, who encountered such a thing for the first time in his life, showed a little hesitation. Faced with such an astronomical figure, although he was extremely tempted, he was also really worried about the opinion of the daimyo of the Land of Fire. Even though Uchiha Makoto in front of him patted his chest and said that he could fully represent the daimyo of the Land of Fire to make the decision on this matter. The Uchiha brat is born evil. Can we trust everything Uchiha Makoto says? You must always be skeptical. Senjo Tobirama, isn't this a bad idea? Uchiha Makoto, if you don't tell me and I don't tell anyone, who will know about this? Senjo Hashirama, but this is deceiving the daimyo, and it's such a large amount of money. Oh, I see. You mean it's too much. Then you, Konoha, should take 8 billion ryo. I can actually take 7 billion ryo alone. You don't want it, but I do. While chatting and laughing, Uchiha Makoto planned to put all the 2 billion taels of silver that were used to bribe Konoha and serve as hush money into his own pocket. As for the concerns of Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju, he didn't care at all. Even the daimyo of the Land of Fire would feel the pain of losing 15 billion ryo. But that was money taken from the national treasury, not from his own private treasury. The daimyo has always been clear about the distinction between public and private affairs, so even if it was painful, it was not unbearable. Moreover, the daimyo of the Land of Fire is still terrified of Konoha and doesn't mind spending money to ward off disaster. No, let's do this. Senjo Tobirama immediately shook his head like a rattle. This was a full 2 billion taels, how could he give it to Uchiha Makoto for free? Moreover, he also embezzled 5 billion taels that originally belonged to Konoha. This born evil Uchiha brat. The corruption is even worse than mine. No wonder he spoke so arrogantly just now, with the look of a nouveau riche. So that's how it is. The funds that were embezzled belong to Konoha. It's really so evil. No problem. Uchiha Makoto smiled and nodded. The two quickly reached a consensus. Even though they were arguing tensely just now, they both had smiles on their faces. Funds are the best lubricant. Uchiha Makoto used money to lubricate Senjo Tobirama so much that he couldn't even close his legs. Afterwards, Uchiha Makoto temporarily left Tobirama Senju and Hashirama Senju in this room, and he went alone to find the daimyo of the Land of Fire to report the results of this negotiation. Your Highness, disaster has occurred. Just now I almost had a fight with Hashirama Senju. As soon as Uchiha Makoto saw the daimyo of the Land of Fire, he opened his mouth and spoke loudly. The daimyo of the Land of Fire was so panicked when he heard Uchiha Makoto's voice that he almost fell off his chair. Cheng, what exactly happened just now? Negotiations collapsed. Is Senjo Hashirama really going to rebel? The Fire Country daimyo asked Uchiha Makoto a series of questions. He was really afraid of the ninja's iron fist sanctions. Then Uchiha Makoto roughly described the negotiation process. Well, it was actually a bunch of nonsense. The furious Senjo Hashirama looked ferocious. The accomplice of the evil, Senjo Tobirama, was extremely vicious. They came to the Land of Fire this time just to seek an explanation. How dare you, the daimyo and nobles, bully the Konoha village like this? Don't you want to live in shame? And then, in the end, I had to persuade Hashirama Senju by using all my might and even bringing up the Uchiha clan. That's good, that's good. The Uchiha clan is indeed full of loyal martyrs. The Daimyo of the Land of Fire couldn't help but heaved a sigh of relief and praised the Uchiha clan. Although the members of the Uchiha clan had a bit of a bad temper, they were loyal. But Konoha is still asking for too much. Hashirama Senju's inherently evil brother, Tobirama Senju, said they must use 30 billion ryo to quell the fire. I finally managed to bargain the price down to half, so I can only give them 15 billion ryo, and this matter is considered settled. Uchiha Makoto seized the opportunity and insisted on not leaving any of the Senju brothers behind. He also gave Senju Tobirama a cold shoulder. Hiss, 30 billion taels. Konoha has quite the appetite. The two brothers of the Senju family are really greedy. Cheng, thank goodness you're here. A gloomy look appeared in the eyes of the Fire Country daimyo, but he finally sighed helplessly. What he couldn't get on the battlefield, he certainly couldn't get at the negotiation table. Konoha is so powerful. 15 billion taels, I'll give you this money. Just think of it as spending money to ward off disaster. Cheng, your Akatsuki village must become stronger as soon as possible. I will definitely support you with all my strength. I don't want to experience being forced like today again. The daimyo of the Land of Fire looked at Uchiha Makoto with deep affection. Hashirama Senju and his Konoha were not even pretending anymore. They dared to come to the capital of the Land of Fire to threaten him. Who knows how arrogant and domineering they will be in the future. Don't worry, Your Highness. I will definitely try my best. This is all for the Fire Nation. Uchiha said this sincerely. The Fire Nation daimyo was quite moved. Sincerity is really loyalty that cannot be expressed in words. This is the total amount agreed upon during today's negotiations. Please review it, Your Highness. Okay, I'll take a look. The daimyo of the Land of Fire took the agreement from Uchiha Makoto and read it one by one. When he read that Konoha and Akatsuki village would jointly protect the Land of Fire and maintain the daimyo of the Land of Fire's dominance in the Land of Fire, he couldn't help but sneer on his face. Guard me, guard the Fire Nation. By the time your Konoha village becomes fully grown and has the ability to completely control the Land of Fire, I'm afraid the situation will no longer be the same as it is today. There is only one person in the Land of Fire who can call the wind and rain, and that is me. There is also only one ninja village that can shelter from the wind and rain, and that is Akatsuki. Konoha will sooner or later be a rebel. It's not true. Cheng, you did a great job on this. I'll leave it all to you. The daimyo of the Land of Fire once again demonstrated his high level of trust in Uchiha Makoto. With a wave of his hand, he handed all the agreement funds to him. As long as Uchiha Makoto thought there was no problem, he could stamp his own golden seal on these agreements today. Thank you for your trust, Your Highness. Things went even more smoothly than Uchiha Makoto had imagined. The daimyo had preconceived ideas, and coupled with Hashirama Senju's extremely powerful strength and the conspiracy theory about Hashirama Senju that Uchiha Makoto had been promoting, the daimyo of the Fire Country had almost determined that Hashirama Senju was a thick-faced and black-hearted conspirator. Under this logic, it was really difficult for the daimyo of the Fire Country to discern the truth. At least from a logical point of view, there was nothing wrong with what Uchiha Makoto said. Unless he was there at the time. Unfortunately at that time, there were only 3 people in the room: Uchiha Makoto, Senju Tobirama, and Senju Hashirama. End of this chapter. Chapter 50, Akatsuki Village blows on the wind. As the Fire Nation daimyo stamped his golden seal on the agreement, the plot line proceeded as it did in the original work. The era of ninja villages has truly arrived. The change in the ninja economic model will inevitably bring about the renewal of the organizational form. The previous organizational form of the ninja clan, which was based on families to accept tasks, can no longer keep up with the development of the times. They can only choose to follow or be drowned in this wave. Brother, why does it seem like the daimyo is so cold towards our Konoha village? At the farewell party, the daimyo still appeared in front of Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju. Even though he really didn't want to appear in front of the dangerous Hashirama Senju, he still came because of etiquette and social conventions. However, he treated Senju Tobirama and Senju Hashirama in a businesslike manner with a hypocritical smile on his face. As a perception-type ninja, Senju Tobirama had keen insight and felt the sense of alienation from the daimyo of the Land of Fire. Tobirama, you're being suspicious again. Just now, the daimyo came over with a gentle expression and shook hands with us. The attitude is very enthusiastic. Brother, you trust others too easily. Senju Tobirama said this. If Konoha village wants to prosper and develop, it must maintain friendly relations with the daimyo of the Land of Fire. However, the attitude shown by the daimyo at present makes him worried, especially when he sees Uchiha Makoto and the daimyo of the Land of Fire fighting enthusiastically. This feeling makes Senju Tobirama even more unhappy. Moreover, when Senju Tobirama shook hands with the daimyo of the Land of Fire just now, he used chakra to carefully examine the daimyo's body, but did not find any strange chakra fluctuations in his body. Uchiha Makoto didn't even use illusion on the daimyo. Then why did the daimyo of the Land of Fire trust Uchiha Makoto so much that he was fully entrusted with the task of establishing a ninja village and building a ninja mission distribution platform, something that could change the future of the ninja world? Uchiha Makoto established the Akatsuki Ninja Village, all thanks to the support of the daimyo of the Land of Fire. Senjo Tobirama felt that he needed to do something to maintain the friendly relationship between Konoha and the Land of Fire, so as to obtain more funds and more sources of missions. Of course, in Uchiha Makoto's opinion, everything Senjo Tobirama did afterwards was actually in vain, because as long as Senjo Hashirama was alive, the attitude of the Fire Country daimyo towards Konoha would not change fundamentally. Even if Hashirama Senjo knelt down and swore to the daimyo of the Land of Fire, he only wanted to be a wealthy village chief and had absolutely no intention of rebelling. But since ancient times, people's hearts are hidden. Even if Hashirama Senjo dared to say it, the daimyo would not dare to really believe it. It doesn't matter whether you have the intention to rebel or not. Having the ability to rebel is enough reason to target you. The banquet is over. Hashirama Senjo and Tobirama Senjo left the capital of the Fire Country, and Uchiha Makoto did not stay in the capital of the Fire Country for too long. This time, the Fire Nation can be said to have reaped a lot of rewards. Not only did it receive 950 billion taels of funding, it also received certification from both the Fire Nation and Konoha. From now on, the ninja world will call him Lord Light and Shadow. Although the strength of Akatsuki Village is not yet worthy of this title, but with a righteous cause and money in hand, recruiting soldiers and strengthening the strength of the village is a natural thing. A few days later, Uchiha Makoto returned to Akatsuki Village. During this period, the daimyo of the Land of Fire signed a series of agreements on the construction of the ninja village and announced them to the entire ninja world. Konoha was already famous and powerful, so they could get the full support of the daimyo of the Land of Fire. This is not surprising. But Akatsuki Village, where did you come from? For a moment, the name of Akatsuki Village almost became a hot topic in the ninja world, attracting the attention of many ninja clans, and Uchiha Makoto's name also spread throughout the ninja world. Oh Uchiha clan members, it turns out to be Konoha's trumpet. Damn it. Who on earth is spreading such rumors in the ninja world? How could Akatsuki Village be a small branch of Konoha? Uchiha Makoto was in his office, feeling very upset when he saw the outrageous rumors in the ninja world, but there was nothing he could do, because the Akatsuki Village was really like a small trumpet raised by Konoha, and there was no chance for clarification. The Akatsuki Village is under attack, Konoha will send troops unconditionally. Both ninja villages signed such an agreement. Even if Akatsuki Village said it was not Konoha's subordinate, no one believed it. Konoha Senjo Tobirama pretended to be dead and said nothing, probably because he wanted to make fun of Uchiha Makoto. Uchiha Makoto sighed while sitting in the office. Although he felt helpless, he did not plan to issue a statement to clarify the matter, because the rumors would only make things worse. It was useless to just clarify it verbally. There had to be strong evidence. When Yongjin came to power, there were rumors among the people that he was usurping the throne. So he personally stepped in to clarify the rumors and wrote a book called The Great Righteousness and Ultimate Secret Record. However, this made the matter worse. In the end, it was his son Qianlong who cleaned up his mess. He confiscated the Great Righteousness and Ultimate Secret Record and banned it, and also killed all those who spread the rumors. This strong evidence immediately stopped the rumors circulating among the people. However, Akatsuki Village currently cannot provide such strong evidence. However, being mistaken as Konoha's shill is not without any benefits. At least it can take advantage of Konoha's traffic and attract many big and small ninja clans in the ninja world. The Hyuga clan had already agreed to Konoha, but declined again. Of course, Uchiha Makoto still didn't give up. If a straight line couldn't work, then a roundabout way would be used. However, the Snow clan, the Kagaya clan, and the Kurama clan, whom Uchiha Makoto had contacted before, all replied, expressing great interest in the Akatsuki village. There are already enough bloodline ninja clans in Konoha. The Senjo clan, Uchiha clan, Hyuga clan, and a number of mystical ninja clans have already occupied a large number of ecological niches. If they go again, 70% of the task share will not be enough. Although Akatsuki Village only has a quota for 3 levels of tasks, considering the current number of ninjas in Akatsuki Village, the task quota can be said to be too large to be completed, and it is impossible to complete it at all. Some of it even has to be outsourced. The Land of Fire is already wealthy and is located in the center of the ninja world. Taking all factors into consideration, if you can settle down in the Akatsuki Village, it is actually the best choice. There is no need to go to the Land of Water, a closed country far away from mainstream civilization. The 4 major countries generally do not include the island country of Water to play together. And Uchiha Makoto also stated in the secret letter that they would give settlement money when they arrived, 500 million taels for each family of the Bloodline Ninja clan, 300 million for each family of the Mystic Arts clan. The small ninja clan would be given similar amounts of money and given cash directly after their clan moved into the Akatsuki village. Jimmy joins the society to do business and make a lot of money, and the ninjas join the ninja village to complete tasks better and make money to expand the family. A large number of task quotas. And the power of money is obvious. The number of ninjas in Akatsuki village was increasing rapidly, which made Uchiha Makoto feel infinitely heroic. He couldn't help but sigh in his Fonghua accent. It's really a place full of vitality, where all things are competing to flourish. In a joyful atmosphere, Uchiha Makoto convened a meeting of the Akatsuki ninja clan. End of this chapter.
Hi guys. I made a paid service in Telegram where you will find a great collection of fanfiction audiobooks organized and regularly updated. What you get? An unlimited access to the full audiobook library. New fanfiction audiobooks added regularly. You can play audios directly from Telegram anytime. Joining our service is available through a monthly subscription of $5. You can pay using PayPal or Ko-fi. So what are you waiting for? Send me a message on Telegram or Discord. I will provide the payment details. After the payment is confirmed, you will receive access to the private Telegram channel containing all audiobooks. If you enjoy fanfiction and prefer listening instead of reading, this library is made for you. Message me anytime to join.